this family to see if each of them knew where to meet if they were not together when something happened.
If a natural disaster happened and we were outside the home, we would all meet at the park. That's our meeting point.
I'm meeting place at our neighbor's house because she is my mom's good friend.
We all have a meeting spot, which is a bus stop.
Is your plan any better? To learn more about making an emergency plan for your family, go to ready.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Ad Council.
You are listening to VIC Radio, the only radio station that can teach robots how to love. The best of what's next.
At VIC, the voice of Ithaca College, we prioritize diversity and inclusion. We are working to ensure that more voices are heard. We support and will continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement and victims of police brutality and racial injustice. We've heard you, we support you, we must advocate for change. Black Lives Matter.
Do you love listening to us and want to keep up to date on all things VIC? Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at VIC Radio.
This is Hannah Polche, and you're listening to Ithaca College Basketball on VIC Radio.
A win in Ben Light Gymnasium makes it 9 straight for the Ithaca Bombers and 10 straight to remain undefeated in the Liberty League. The final score, the Ithaca Bombers win over the William Smith Herons 71-42. How are we doing, everybody? And welcome into the postgame show here on VIC Radio Ithaca alongside Alex Chiproot. I'm Kyle DeSantis. And Alex, again, we were talking about offensive firepower of this Ithaca team in the pregame show. How did it play out today?
It played out almost perfectly for the Bombers tonight. I mean, they had offensive scoring from just about everywhere. 4 Bombers players finished with more than 10 points, and they were just shooting it from everywhere and shooting it very, very efficiently. I mean, we already talked about this in the we didn't get to mention this in the halftime show, but their first quarter, where they scored 23 points in this game, they shot 73.3% from the field, which is extremely, extremely efficient and extremely, extremely good. And they have averaged more than 50% from the field for the past 2 quarters, except going up into this 4th quarter, where they were mainly running bench players. And so really, Ithaca never really looked back in this game. They really just sort of took the lead from the jump and never really looked back. They've had the lead this entire game, and they certainly showed why they are ranked in the national standings.
Exactly as you mentioned, Alex, a wire-to-wire victory for Ithaca women's basketball. And you talk about the scoring, again, every single Bomber player got in the scoring column. Again, you're looking at the leaders. There were 4 Bombers that scored in double-digit points. You had Emily Dorn, who had 18 points. 12 of those, I might add, were in the first quarter. She was on fire to start the game. You have Grayson Dubin with 11, 1 point off for career high, and both Natalie Smith and Cameron Coffey getting at the 10 spot.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about Emily Dorn. We thought that she was going to have a chance to go for a career high tonight. The career high is 23, and she was on pace for it through the first half of this game, and she has been just absolutely incredible and shooting super efficiently, as I might add. She's been 9 for 13 tonight, finishing with 69% from the field, which is very, very good for her. And so ultimately, she took over this game from the very, very beginning, got Ithaca the huge lead, and the bench players, such as Grace Dubin, were able to take over in the second half and ultimately give Ithaca a comfortable win.
Yeah, especially in the second half. Again, we were talking at the halftime show, both Yorio and Lynch had 3 fouls. They both ended with 4. But again, you look at who was able to step up. You look at Chase Sabino. She had 30 minutes in this game. Again, you talk about Grayson Dubin. You talk about a few players who, again, in a full setting, when it comes to the full roster for Ithaca, might not be getting as much playing time, might not be getting too much of it in general, but especially in this game where there were only 10 players in the rotation, they were able to do their job. And again, they were able to beat William Smith again by over 20 points, exactly more than 20 points. They beat them by 20 a few weeks ago, and today again was a win by 29. So what do you think when it comes to this Ithaca team? Again, you look at a lot of people that have having to step up. What does that say, especially about the depth of this Ithaca team, Alex?
It bodes very, very well for Ithaca. I mean, you mentioned bench players. You talk about Isabella Middleman, Watkins, Anna Watkins for the Bombers. 2 of those players definitely stepped up. Even though they didn't have a huge amount of points, they still made an impact in the game. as mentioned, Watkins had 6 rebounds in this game, a huge factor on the glass, and Isabella Middleman did a great job of running the point in the fourth quarter. She played the entirety of it and did a great job there.
Yeah, Middleman playing the point, especially in that later part of the game. You know, there were a few times where she was driving. She was being a little shifty when it comes to going from one foot to the other, trying to go to the lane. There were a few times, again, where the defender was in front of her, and it might not have boded out that well, but she ended up getting in the scorers column again. She had 2 points alongside Brady Lynch, who in her lone jump shot absolutely swished it. And you look at this game, and you look at Ithaca. They scored 20 or more points in the first 3 quarters. Again, in the fourth quarter, they had 8. They shot 3 of 17, but that doesn't really showcase the potential. It shows again for that where, at least for Ithaca, they were able to kind of not necessarily coast along the way, because obviously you got to keep your foot on the gas, but they did a good job, especially in that final quarter against a William Smith team, which also kind of had its troubles when it comes to scoring. They only had 1 quarter that was over 10 or more points. That was the second quarter where they scored 15, and even then they were outscored by 5 for the Bombers.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about troubles scoring tonight. Blake Jarvis had the most troubles out of anyone on the entire game. She shot 4 of 16 tonight, which is very, very low. 25% from the field. She finished with 12 points, which is just below her season average, but through the first half of this game, she had only 4 points. She definitely stepped up in the second half, but it ultimately wasn't close to being enough in order to get William Smith back into the game. And then you look at Lauren Devaney, who we talked about in the pregame and in the halftime show as someone who needed to step up and who is another one of those big-time scorers for William Smith. She was only able to put up 4 more points, and she had to be very, very careful because, as we mentioned in the halftime show, she had 3 first-half fouls, which meant that she was going to be very, very careful in how she went about scoring in this second half of this game. And ultimately, the fact remains that those 2 players weren't able to get it going, and part of that Devaney situation is because of the fouls. William Smith never had a chance to come back into this game.
Yeah, you look at Lauren Devaney and Brooke Jarvis. In the game prior to coming to the Southfield when they played St. Lawrence, where they did end up coming on the losing side, both Devaney and Jarvis had 24 points each. You look at the total tonight for Ithaca, they combined for 20, and they shot a combined 7 of 25 from the field.
Yeah, when you're shooting 7 from 25 from the field with your 2 best and star players, you're not going to have success in a basketball game. And that just, is just what it is. And, I mean, you mentioned it, and this is truly a tribute to the Ithaca defense, being able to hold 2 20-point scores to under both their season averages, and in one case, under 10 points in Devaney's case. And so they've done a great job tonight. They really showed that they can lock down star players, especially on the perimeter and inside, as Devaney was a little bit of a presence inside. We saw some flashes of her where she had some dominant moments on the boards, but it was really well contained. There was only, I think, 2 or 3 times in the entire game where I saw true stardom and true sort of dominance from her down low.
Yeah, and you look at this Ithaca team on defense, especially as you were mentioning, Alex. They had 11 steals, 6 blocks, 2 of them each from Dorn and Polche down low. And again, the defense, as we mentioned, it is a very aggressive style. Again, a few times there people can get more into foul trouble. Again, with Yorio tonight, she had 4. But if you playing that type of defense and playing at that level where you minimize the separation, and it's a lot of times where, you got to just stay on them, and you got to maybe try to put a hand on them. Don't overdo it, but if you put just a hand on it, like a little arm over, and you make them work, it can do wonders, especially at any level of the game.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about the steals. I mean, you were talking to me earlier in the game about how well this Ithaca Bombers team gets their hands into the passing lanes, and that was absolutely true. It definitely showed in tonight's game. You mentioned the 11 total steals. It was just a fantastic defensive win for the Bombers.
And we would like to thank you again for tuning in to the post-game show for Ithaca women's basketball here on VIC Radio Ithaca. Again, the final score, Ithaca 71, William Smith 42. The Bombers will be back in action tomorrow at 2 p.m. That will be on WICD. They will be playing the RPI Engineers, but coming up next we have the men's taking the court, and we have Ithaca men's basketball action here on VIC Radio. It will be the Ithaca Bombers taking on the Hobart Statesmen. A great match to see. It is the Liberty League men's basketball game to tune into for tonight with the slate that they have scheduled, and honestly, you're not going to want to miss it, so don't turn that radio dial. This has been VIC Radio Ithaca and the Bomber Radio Network.
As the midterms roll by and the tests and quizzes pile up by the day, if you feel like you're a little in over your head, consider finding yourself a free tutor in the ithaca.edu/tutoring page online, getting yourself matched up with someone in whatever classes you need, and working out times that fit around your schedule so that you can focus on your schoolwork.
Mom, get out of my room. I'm listening to VIC Radio.
Oh, sorry.
Stop sign comes out, you must stop. In New York State, you cannot move again until the red flashing lights go off and the stop sign is retracted, or until the driver or a traffic officer signals it is okay to pass. You must stop even on the opposite side of a divided highway. If you decide it's okay to risk a child's life and pass a stopped school bus, you could face fines or even have your license revoked. Is it really worth it? Always obey the school bus stopping law in your state.
I'll take FM alternatives for 1,000.
This indie alternative radio station provides listeners with the best of what's next.
What is VIC Radio?
That is correct.
This is Logan Wendell, and you're listening to Ithaca College Basketball on VIC Radio.
We are live here at Ben Light Gymnasium as the Ithaca Bombers, our men's basketball team, is taking on the Hobart Statesmen. Hello everyone, I am Alex Schubert, and alongside me is John Wick himself, Dean Gutik, and tonight, Dean, we have two very, very good Liberty League opponents. Dean, what do you expect to see in this game?
Well, thank you, Alex. I mean, this is a crucial game for both sides. The Bombers 11-5 on the season, 7-2 in conference play, as compared to Hobart 10-7, 6-4 in conference play. Hobart on a 4-game winning streak. So, Alex, a thing to keep an eye on is Hobart is coming to this game on a 4-game win streak, steaming hot. Like, they are playing great basketball right now. And then you got the Bombers who had their bounce back win the other night against Union, 80-71. A big key of this game, Alex, would have to be the rebounds battle. Now, looking at the stats and looking at both sides hand in hand, Hobart is first in the Liberty League, 686 rebounds and 485 rebounds allowed, also first in the Liberty League. And a thing to keep an eye on is the battle over the glass in both sides. Whereas if you look at the Bombers second in rebounds at 638 and fifth in rebounds allowed and 598. So a key here is for the Bombers to win the battle over the glass. And if those second chance points come through, you need to capitalize, because Hobart's a team that can rebound really well, and they don't give up a lot of rebounds either.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about rebounding well. The Hobart Statesmen have a 11.9 point rebound margin. That's plus rebound margin. And so they have been out-rebounding their opponents by a lot, and that has definitely contributed to this 4-game win streak, as you mentioned, Dean. And looking at this Bombers team, who are the players that we need to keep an eye on, Dean? Obviously, you got to mention Luka Radovich, but who are the other players maybe just besides Luka that we need to keep an eye on?
You know, I was going to say Logan Wendell, but I am going to go with the man who returned this winter, Skylar Simon, the second-team All-Liberty League guard himself. You know, ever since he came back, Alex, the Bombers have had more juice in their lineup. They've been playing better, and, you know, when you get a player like that back, a second-team All-Liberty League guard, it easily helps, especially on both ends. Skylar Simon, his last game, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. One of the best in the team with steals at 17 steals on the season. So Skylar Simon, you know, it's like a fox, like swipe or no swipe, and that's exactly what he does. So Skylar Simon's something to watch, not only on defense, but on the offensive side. Again, capable of scoring, capable of passing the ball, getting rebounds. This is a player that can do a lot and provide a lot for this Bombers team. So Skylar Simon is a player to watch, but also Jack Stern. You mentioned outside of Luka Radovich, another big body to keep an eye out on. again, this Hobart team could rebound really well, and Jack Stern and Radich need to win the battle over the glass and need to outbox their guys.
Absolutely, and then obviously, just to go back to Luka Radovic for a second, I mean, Luka's been really, really dominant this year. Now, as a graduate student returning for his 5th season, he is first in 3 of the main offensive categories. He is first in points per game with 18 on this team. He is also first in 3 points made with 35, not to mention total rebounds with 117. Luka's been so dominant, and you're looking at this Hobart Statesman team. Who are the players on that Statesman that really need to step up, especially against Stern and Luka Radovic, as we mentioned so far?
Well, I have to say, the big man himself, the 4 is 6'7", Jackson Masonic out of Columbia, Connecticut. Last game, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists against St. Lawrence University. All Liberty League first-team honors last season, 5-time Performer of the Week. 5 times he's gotten Performer of the Week this season, and that's a player to keep an eye out on right there. But I mentioned that's one of the key guys the Bombers need to win the battle over the glass. And for Hobart, feed your man down low. You have guys in the paint that not only that could rebound, that can score. So for Hobart, it's the bully in the paint, playing bully ball in the paint.
Absolutely. I mean, this game is almost shaping up to be a battle of the paint between Luka and Mesanic, and that's going to be a really interesting matchup to see how those two bigs go at each other, and I think that's going to be really, really key to this game. And also, I mean, just looking overall, the Bombers have been 6-2 at home, while Hobart Statesmen have been 2-3 on the road. Do you think that will play an effect in tonight's game, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Hobart team that's looking to get a big road win, especially in Ben White Gymnasium. And, you know, again, I said it earlier, this is a huge game for both sides. And Hobart 4th right now in the Liberty League. Bombers 1st in the Liberty League. So I think Hobart could, there is a chance Hobart does win, but this is a huge game, no less. And to add on to your point, Alex, they're not far behind in the race for first, so these two teams are playing for first. This is a huge weekend for Bomber basketball as they will be playing Hobart tonight. Tomorrow, RPI, again, another team, by the way, who is creeping up on first place. So, but first you got to get by this game. You know what they say, any given day, you got to take it day by day. And Bombers have to focus on today's game, and you have to focus on winning this game because, again, Hobart is right there, and this is a crucial matchup. The last time, Alex, these two teams faced, Logan Wendell with a steal of a victory, 75-74 in Geneva, New York, as he got the game-winning layup to go and just ripping it out from Hobart Souls. But now they come to Ben Light Gymnasium to try and get their revenge here on the Bombers in front of a solid crowd.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned just being in Ben Light is so beneficial for this Bomber squad. I already mentioned the 6-2 record, but that doesn't really show it. I mean, this team always plays better at home. And as you mentioned, Dean, teams are right on the Ithaca's heels in the Liberty League standings. You mentioned RPI already. Ithaca is currently sitting at 7-2 in conference play. RPI right behind them at 7-3. Not to mention Vassar also right there at 7-3. And so this is a massive game for Liberty League standings, as any of those teams could jump Ithaca with a loss tonight.
And I have to agree with you right there, Alex. This is a huge weekend in Liberty League. These last couple of weeks, as we are approaching February, is going to be crucial for both sides, especially the Ithaca Bombers. And they want to have a chance, unlike last year, to host a game this year in the tournament, hosting the tournament. You have to win these type of games. These type of games, Alex, even if it's only the regular season, defy who these type of teams are, and the Bombers need these games. Especially not too long ago, that loss to Skidmore, Bombers need to go back riding on that hot streak they had in the winter.
Absolutely. I mean, who do you think is going to be one of the most uncommon players on this Bombers roster who maybe has to step up tonight in order to guarantee the Bombers a win tonight?
First off, I want to say it might be cold in the winter, but the Bombers need to ride hot. And number two, who I think needs to step up big time, Zach Warwick. I mean, Zach Warwick, one of the better shooters last year. You know, when Zach Warwick, Alex, is on his game, it's hard to stop him. I mean, he is one of the better shooters on this team, and Warwick has defended well. So for the Bombers, a player for me to look out that might be an X factor, honestly, Zach Warwick. And again, you can argue for other guys, as we mentioned earlier, Jack Stern, especially down low in the paint, battle the boards. But Zach Warwick is someone I want to see get more shots and someone to look out for, no less, in this type of game.
Absolutely. I mean, in this kind of a game where the teams are super, super close in terms of regular, in terms of conference play, any one of these players can make a difference. And looking at this Hobart team, I mean, really, they are a very experienced team. I mean, they have 5 seniors on this current Hobart roster. Who are one of the seniors that have really come back and made an impact for this Hobart team, Dean?
I have to say, Alex, it honestly goes hand in hand. And, asking that question, I have to say Patrick Walker, last game 11 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. He leads the teams in blocks. So Patrick Walker, the senior, the guard-forward combo, 6'4", out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Again, leads the team in blocks. He not only could score, he could get boards. I mean, this is a player that can do it both really on both sides of the court, but especially, again, in the paint, not only with boards, but also playing defense, and, again, leads the teams in blocks, as Walker with 14 blocks on the season thus far for this Hobart Statesman team.
Absolutely. I mean, I also think one of the things to look out for is a lot of scoring. These two teams are ranked number 1 and number 2 in scoring in the Liberty League. There are going to be some fireworks tonight.
I'd have to agree. Why wouldn't there be fireworks at Fed Light Gymnasium, especially for a game of this magnitude, Alex? Between two conference rivals, this type of game, this type of magnitude, this type of game of two teams trying to, get that first seed right there in the Liberty League. And it's games like this. We always say this is March, but soon this will be February, and soon it'll be Liberty League Conference Championship weekend. So this is a crucial couple of weeks for the Bombers and for the Hobart Statesmen.
Absolutely. And I mean, another category to look into is three-point shooting, and also a little bit of comparison in terms of Liberty League ranking. The Bombers ranked 3rd in overall three-point shooting field percentage, while the Hobart Statesmen ranked 6th. However, the Hobart Statesmen, as you already mentioned, Dean, have a ton of good rebounders. They ranked 1st in combined rebounds compared to the Bombers are 4th, and so it's really kind of a trade-off. And I think whoever executes better in their respective better categories, whether that's rebounding for the Hobart Statesmen or three-point percentage for the Ithaca Bombers, could really decide the game.
Yeah, I have to agree with you right there, Alex. And, the key here for the Bombers, for my eyes, again, not only winning the battle of the glass, shooting the ball well. I said it with Warwick. If you get a hot Warwick, he can shoot the ball well, and it'll go in. It's about staying hot for the Bombers. But another key thing, do not force anything. You don't have to rush anything. You don't have to take unnecessary shots. And, in these type of games, you have to play your type, your pace of game, your style of game. The Bombers cannot get too fancy or too cute in this type of game, especially a critical game like this, again, as mentioned earlier, against Hobart, who is creeping up on that 1 seed in the Liberty League.
Absolutely, and that is all the time that we have for the pregame show today. Please stay tuned to VIC as Kyle DeSantis and Matt Sossler will have the call of the first half. You're listening to VIC Radio, the Bomber Radio Network.
At VIC, the voice of Ithaca College, we prioritize diversity and inclusion. We are working to ensure that more voices are heard. We support and will continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement and victims of police brutality and racial injustice. We've heard you. We support you. We must advocate for change. Black Lives Matter.
VIC is the voice of Ithaca College. Here's what's happening around campus. Are you interested in video games, awesome prizes, and free food? Then come to the Ithaca College Gaming Tournament on February 4th and play to win an awesome Nintendo Switch, a brand new gaming laptop, or other awesome prizes. Experience virtual reality or try your hand at awesome new indie titles such as Kitty Kart and Soundfall. The IC Gaming Tournament will be held from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, February 4th in Emerson Suites and is open to all students of Ithaca College. Game on! If you are a part of an organization and would like to broadcast your message on the air, contact community@vicradio.org.
At VIC, the voice of Ithaca College, we prioritize diversity and inclusion. We are working to ensure that more voices are heard. We support and will continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement and victims of police brutality and racial injustice. We've heard you. We support you. We must advocate for change. Black Lives Matter.
This is Emily Dorn, and you're listening to Ithaca College Basketball on VIC Radio.
On the doorsteps of February, the Liberty League is heating up in the home stretch of the regular season as the Ithaca College Bombers take on the Hobart College Statesmen. How are we doing, everybody? And welcome into the broadcast alongside Matt Sasa. I'm Kyle DeSantis. Rocco DeMilo is down on the sidelines, and we'll hear from him shortly. Matt, we did 2 of the top 4 teams in the Liberty League. Ithaca is in first, Hobart is in fourth. Who do we have to watch here tonight?
Well, Kyle, it's been an interesting few years for the Hobart Statesmen. Like you said, they're near the top of the Liberty League this year after finishing below 500 overall just a season ago. But keep in mind, this Statesman team has been around the past few years. They made the NCAA tournament in 2020 before it was canceled due to COVID-19, and they went on a run in that tournament. They beat Jim Calhoun's squad in the first round of that tournament. Jim Calhoun, the famous coach of the Connecticut Huskies, before moving down to D3 in retirement. And just like a car going on a run, you got to keep that in mind. You got to get it treated. You got to get it serviced. And that was Hobart in 2021. Their car started to lose some steam. And what do you do when a car needs service? You call the mechanic. Well, for the Hobart Statesman, it's not the mechanic. It's been the mechanics. And I'm going to talk about the senior Jackson. He's averaging double figures so far this season, both in points and in rebounds. But it's not just Jackson. He's got his 2 younger brothers there as well, the twins, Hunter and Carter Mechanic. Both of them have been fantastic for the Statesmen so far this year. In addition to their older brother, you're going to be hearing the name Mechanic a lot tonight.
And looking around here again, Matt, one quick question. How important is tonight's contest again in the top 4 matchup?
Very important. We're into the second rotation in Liberty League play. We just completed the first rotation, so we're only halfway home towards that Liberty League tournament. And I looked at the Liberty League standings, and at this point, it's anybody's race. Who knows where basketball will be played the last weekend of February? It's anybody's game. Ithaca has a chance to sweep the Statesmen after Logan Wendell broke their heart up in Geneva earlier this month. So it's anybody's game, but if Ithaca can get the sweep, it'll be huge for them.
Yeah, and now we're going to go down to the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, and Rocco DeMilo. Rocco? We're going to get back to him shortly as, again, both teams, Ithaca and Hobart, with a minute left on the clock before the warm-up. It's something to watch, and it's 2 teams who, they have an identity, and they're keeping it. For both teams, it is the same starting lineups that they've had for the previous games this season. And now we are going to go down to Rocco DeMilo. Rocco? Some technical difficulties here again, but again, this is 2 of the top 4 teams in the Liberty League. Ithaca at number 1, they're 7-2, and Hobart is in 4th, they're 6-4, just a game and a half away from each other. And again, this past time where it was, we now go as the clock goes down to the keys of the game.
Well, Kyle, as they announced the starting lineups, the keys for the game, starting off with Ithaca. That is prevent the attack of the Mechanics. I mentioned it earlier, but they just got to be ready to go to defend Jackson Mechanic. He is, as of this moment in time, the Liberty League Player of the Year, but they're also dealing with the reigning Liberty League Rookie of the Year in Aiden Rogers. So if you can stop those guys, the Bombers should have a fun time here tonight. As for the Statesmen, it's isolate Luka Radovich, isolate Logan Wendell. Don't let the Bombers run.
And before we talk, thank you for the piece of the game, we know now 3rd time's the charm to Rocco DeMilo. Rocco?
Thanks, guys. My apologies for the technical difficulties, but when 2 teams come together to write another page in the history books, I always love to look back and see how all the previous matchups went. Historically, Ithaca has the upper hand over Hobart, leading the all-time series 37-24. Ithaca is currently on a 4-game win streak over the Statesmen, as they haven't lost a game in this matchup since January 31st, 2020 in Geneva by a final count of 78-77. The Ben Light Gymnasium has been huge for the Bombers as they are 23-6 at home against the Statesmen. Will tonight's result go according to history's plans? We'll see. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Rocco. A lot of history again with this matchup, and a lot of history that both of these 2 teams have at their starting lineups. As mentioned previously, for Hobart, it is the same starting lineup that they've had for the previous 17 games. Andrew Lynch, Patrick Walker, Carter Mechanic, and Jackson Mechanic, as we mentioned, and the recent Liberty League Rookie of the Year in Aiden Rogers. For the Bombers, it is Logan Wendell, George Sequoiak III, Liam Spellman, Zach Warwick, and rounding out the 5-4 IC, it is Luka Radovich. We're about to get underway here from Benway Gymnasium. The Bombers will be in their blue uniforms with the white numbers and trim. Hobart going for the highlighter oranges with the white numbers and the slight purple trim around the neckline. The last time these two teams faced off, it was the Bombers coming out on top by 1 point, 75-74. Again, as Matt mentioned, when Wendell really ripped the hearts out of the Statesmen in Geneva Bristol Gym. As we're about to get underway, it will be Jackson Mechanic, the two-time All-Liberty League first-team recipient in 2020 and 2022. Going to be jumping for the Hobart Statesmen.
Yeah, Kyle, one thing to keep in mind here, Ithaca is going to roll with a smaller lineup. Jack Stern did not play in their last game against Union. He's really the only true big they have this year. They also have Gavin Shorter, who's anticipated to play against Union, but saw 0 minutes. And this Bomber style of basketball is to run their opponents out of the gym. Let's see how they do as the ball's about to go up in the air.
Yeah, Showers 6'9", Stern 6'7", Radovich for the jump at 6'5". Tip is up and won by the Statesmen, moving from right to left. Carter Mechanic now up top to Aiden Rogers. Mechanic right wing, guarded by Warwick. Baseline drive. Up top to Rogers. Off the screen from Mechanic. A foul offensive. It's a charge as Warwick set his feet.
Yeah, great job by Warwick setting his feet just outside of the restricted arc, just in front of the basket. The team that gets in foul trouble here early is going to have a tough goal the rest of the night, especially with how aggressive both of these teams play.
I think they're moving left to right. Hobart from right to left on your radio dial as Liam Spellman is behind the perimeter on the right wing. Radovich now, guarded by Walker. Wendell takes the three, rather the one, and drives through the contact, but he's through 3 Statesmen, and he can't go over the top for that. Mechanic and Carter drives on Wendell. He goes for the layup for his own, and he gets the first points of the night.
Yeah, good job by Carter Mechanic there, switching sides and getting the job done.
Warwick, after the pass from Wendell, stepped out of bounds on the line. It's going to be a turnover for Ithaca, 46 seconds in. Rogers bringing the ball up, guarded by George Sikoriak III. Tried to use the screen from Walker, but no avail. Moving in, that is Walker. Now Rogers right wing. His 3-ball try. It's a swish.
Yeah, Rogers, that's one way to apologize to your bench after drawing a foul early, is nailing a 3 a few minutes later.
Sikoriak driving for the Bombers, and a quick trigger 3 from Warwick to try to respond off of back right rim.
Warwick's got to be careful. He's been a little shoot happy over the past few games.
Especially off the pass, as you mentioned, as it's Jackson Mechanic, a straightaway 3 off front rim. Wendell the rebound left to right, the Bombers go. Wendell trying to keep it himself and drive on Mechanic. Back out to Warwick. Left wing Spellman shot. Off the back right iron, rebound Radovich, back up with a layup. Ithaca's first points.
Yeah, Jackson Mechanic struggled to box out Radovich on that last one. Gave Radovich a freeway right to the 10, and he converted.
5-2 the score. Hobart over Ithaca. It's about 2 minutes in this first half. Walker, straightaway Rogers, 3-ball. Kaboom! 2 quick threes for Aiden Rogers, and Hobart is out to a 6-point lead, 8-2.
It's January still, Kyle, but we're going to have a 3-point shootout here in Ben Light. We've seen so many 3-point attempts. We're not even 3 minutes into this ballgame.
The Bombers have missed their first 2 tries from deep. Hobart was looking for 5, potentially from Wendell, but it is Warwick at the straightaway key. Left wing Spellman, a triple try. In and out.
Yeah, and even though Spellman was unable to convert there, great pass fake, convincing Hobart to go otherwise.
Rogers. It's a straightaway 3, almost from the parking lot. That was Lynch, but it's rebounded by Walker. This is Carter Mechanic, right wing, on the perimeter, guarded by Wendell. Tries to drive, spins to his right, layup through the contact, and banks off the glass.
Yeah, Wendell got caught in no man's land there. He wanted to set his feet to try and drop the charge, but then he had to play defense. Just didn't work.
Ithaca looking to move things up around 3 minutes in as they trail 10-2. It's Spellman left wing extended, and it's Sikoriak off of the Radovich screen. And now it's passed over to Spellman once more. Wendell. And that is butter.
Logan Wendell knows the Hobart Statesman like a book. He drained the buzzer beater up in Geneva earlier this month. He's really good at those corner threes. He's just a scrappy player, and he's young too.
Wendell ending a Hobart 5-0 run in around a minute's time with the 3 ball, and he picks off the pass down low. Warwick driving on the 2-on-2. Wendell back with the ball, down low, Sikoriak baseline. Pass, and it went right through Liam Spellman's hands.
Spellman tapping his chest right there. He saw the ball, got his eyes up towards the basket just as the basketball passed him, and it went out of bounds far side.
Sikoriak pressing along with Wendell for the Bombers as Rogers brings up the ball and passes the midcourt stripe. Rogers still top of the key off of the Walker screen on the left. And one pass through the hands deserves another as it's Lynch this time with the Butterfingers.
Yeah, right you are. You miss one, I'll miss another. Right through Lynch's hands in front of the Bomber bench near his side, so we'll cancel out and continue to play basketball.
10-5 Hobart leading Ithaca. 4 minutes into the first half. It's Sikoriak. Now Radovich straight away on the perimeter. Spellman, left wing on the 3. Now behind the 3 as it's Wellman and Sikoriak. Drops the ball as well. It bounced on the line, and that is 3 straight possessions where that's happened.
This is a phrase you heard me say a lot in the fall during my coverage of the football team. I'll say it here in January with the basketball team. You gotta take care of the basketball. Possessions are key. They're everything here in this game.
Mashanik, and the pass and the layup good from Walker. 12-5 Statesman. Sikoriak handoff to Spellman. Perimeter on the right. Sikoriak baseline drive off of Rogers, pushes him off. A few quick passes. Wendell fakes the 3. He drives to the right. It is Spellman, right corner, splash!
Spellman is just escaping every single orange jersey. He's had multiple open three-point opportunities. He's able to cash in there, but Hobart really needs to find a way to track him through this offensive mesh that Ithaca is running.
Mashanik on the drive, passes out to Walker. Rogers has already made 2 threes, passes down low to Jackson Mashanik, who drives on Radovich against 2 defenders as Warwick goes down, has the pass out to Walker. 3 ball. That was rather Lynch on the pass. It is Walker with the rebound, who passes it right to Wendell. I think I had the numbers. Wendell behind the back. Shifty layup. Oh my goodness. Hobart by 2. Just after 5 minutes gone by. Rogers, Carter Mashanik. Rogers top of the key, guarded by Sikoriak. It is Carter Mashanik once more down low. And that's a travel in the paint.
Hobart has been getting set too soon. Hobart is a dribble drive team so far tonight, but the issue is Ithaca's playing pressure against them, which is forcing them to pick up their dribble soon. They run out of choices, and then they have to figure out what to do. They're stuck in no man's land. A couple of subs to note. Noah Downing is in the game for Ithaca.
Yeah, Downing, one of those guys. He's very active. He's very gritty. He's bringing the ball up left to right as the point guard for the Bombers on the left. It's guarded by David Corrales Marasco, who checks in for the Statesman as well. Radovich, top of the key. Warwick 3 ball. Unbelievable. Ithaca's first lead, 13-12. About 6 minutes gone by.
That's an 8-0 run for the Bombers right now.
They've also made 4 threes now as it's over the top to Jackson Mashanik against Luka Radovich down low. It was also Warwick trying to swipe over top. And it is Radovich who does get called for the first foul of this game.
Yeah, they'll call a hold on Radovich coming from the lead official there. Just a clean, simple play at the basket, routine common foul.
Rather, it is also the first foul for the Bombers, as Rogers also has a foul recorded. It is Jackson Mashanik at the line. First free throw is up, and nothing but net. Shoots 70%, or rather, just over 70% from the line. It's behind Patrick Walker, 1% back for the team high. Mashanik off the back rim, and it is Downing with the board, 13-all. Pass almost extended by Warwick as it's Spellman on the right corner. Drives on Jackson Mashanik, passes out to Downing. Downing against Mashanik. No foul called through the hard contact, and it's Hobart moving fast. Corrales Marasco. Mashanik straight away, guarded by Downing. Tries to drive down the low to the left block. Up and under shot attempted by Hunter Mechanic, who also checks in, but it is off the mark. Downing driving. Takes 2. Wendell far corner. Off the front rim. Great job by Ward to get the rebound and reset the shot clock. And it's Spellman, another 3-ball try off back right rim, but it is a rebound. Radovich off the front left rim. 3 tries, no points.
You mentioned the number 3. You also have all 3 Mechanics in the game. That possession looked like a bunch of driveway basketball where they tried to take shots from the trash can at the edge of the street.
12:54 to go in the first half as it's going to go the other way. Whistle blows, and that was an offensive foul on Hunter Mechanic.
We'll call that, yeah, like you said, on Hunter, that's his first, but I'm curious to see the vibe. You rarely see 3 sets of siblings on the floor at the same time. Now we got 2 as checking out as Carter Mechanic, but they've been playing basketball since birth. I mean, that's 20 to 21 years right now.
Talk about the chemistry there. 12:44. Wennerstein, he checks in on the left wing. He tries a 3-ball and he connects. Ithaca's first lead, 16 to 13.
Tristan Wennerstein is the amoeba definition of a basketball player. They need him to play the 5, he'll play the 5. They need him to play the 1, he'll play the 1. He can do it all and rip defenses apart, and a great 3-ball by Tristan.
Jackson Mechanic on the left elbow, extended floater, try off the back left rim, rebounded by Wennerstein, got tangled up. It's going to go the other way, another foul on Hunter Mechanic.
Yeah, the 2 of them got tangled right at the elbow. The crowd's loving it here as Hobart is racking up fouls like it's nobody's business. They're at 3 right now. They got to be careful towards the end of this game because they're not too deep in terms of the team production-wise, so they got to be careful. Speaking of production, Skylar Sinan is in the game for the Bombers.
Skylar Sinan, he's played in every game since the 2023 opener and that buzzer-beater shot win over Hamilton College, but it is left wing for Wennerstein. He tries to drive baseline against Jackson Mechanic. That's a matchup to watch. Straight away, Wendell. Sinan on the right wing, tries to drive, this time against Isaiah Washington. And it is a shot missed for a 3-ball. That was Wennerstein trying to go for his second straight 3. Jackson Mechanic. Far wing. Walker fakes the 3, guarded by Wendell. Mechanic tries to drive with the left through 2 people, and you can't not defend that even better.
A little bit of discombobulation from the Bomber defense, and what you're taught as a ball handler, you got 2 defenders in front of you, you're not going left, you're not going right, you're splitting them right down the middle as Mechanic did.
The ball goes, and it results in an Ithaca turnover. It will be Andrew Yeschikter and Jack Stern checking in. Again, Stern, as you mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, did not play in the last win for the Bombers over Union College.
Yeah, Stern from Morristown Friends in New Jersey has been a really constant player for this Bomber squad since arriving on the South Hill his freshman year. Got a few starts that season.
11:22 in the first half. Corrales Marasco just past the I and the Ithaca logo at midcourt. Walker near corner. Mechanic on Stern. And a great pass, and it is Washington who went up for the layup. Wennerstein really couldn't defend that. He was already in the air, but it is a foul and a chance for 3 at the line.
The bad pass comes back to help the Statesmen in that regard. It was a poor inlet pass. Washington had trouble handling the basketball. Like you said, Kyle, Wennerstein was about 10 feet in the air at that point, or it seemed like he was 10 feet in the air. And at that point, Washington grabbed the ball, went up, went right into Wennerstein's midsection. 2 shots right now.
Washington completes the 3-point play. Didn't score in 2 minutes the last game out for Hobart as it's Downing moving left to right. About 9 minutes gone by in the first half. Off the Wennerstein screen, down and loses the ball, and it is picked up by Andrew Lynch. Corrales Marasco, defended by Downing. Left wing Washington gets Schichter on the defense. Mechanic. Extended. He pulls up. Too strong. Out of bounds.
You hear that, Kyle? Jackson Mechanic's going to hear that from this IC faithful as he exits the ball game. Now takes a seat on the bench. It's rare to see Jackson Mechanic out in a game like this, but they're going to need to keep their starters and their star fresh, especially going into this gauntlet that the Statesmen have over the next few weeks.
Yeah, Mechanic so far only 3 points on 1 of 4 shooting, as it is Geschichter and Sinan. He pulls up. Off the front left rim, Downing tries to save it out of bounds. Big bounce pass, and the Statesmen have a 2-on-2. Big move by Walker. It's a block. A blocking foul, rather, as it is Skylar Synan, who could not set his feet in time.
Just as you said, Kyle, Synan was just a little bit late to get in position, but I got to give credit to Skylar Synan. He missed the first part of this season with an injury. He got a little shaken up against Union last week, and look at the captain right there, getting in the way of the play, sacrificing his body.
At the line, missing the first free throw is Patrick Walker. Walker, the leading free throw shooter in percentage for the Statesmen, 71.7, as referees are double checking about something as Walker now goes near the bench. I think they're saying he might have got hit on the head. He was touching his head, at least when he was going over to the Hobart bench on the right sideline.
No, you rarely see that in basketball. Typically in basketball, when a player is removed to the game, especially when they're free throw shooter, it's because of an open wound, and the athletic trainer is currently applying a towel and some gauze to the head of Walker right now. Officials, you have to remove the player from the game temporarily, but just a small cut to get that all cleaned up as he heads back to the court to take his other free throw.
He goes to take his other free throw. Another thing to talk about, it is Evan Goldberg checking in, the graduate forward, 6'10", 250. Graduate. He graduated earlier last season from Queens College, played a few seasons on the basketball team as the second free throw goes down for Walker. 20 seconds away from being halfway in the first half. Schichter, ball up on the right wing, almost loses it. Behind the back, cut back, the crowd like that. Another one off of the Stern screen. He's doubled as Goldberg tried to move down low for Stern, and the pass is kicked out of bounds as Washington was in front.
And Kyle, I mentioned earlier that this is going to be a track meet. The track meet has hit its intermission because you got Goldberg and Stern in the game. Both of these teams going with their larger looks right now, so I expect to see some tough ground and pound basketball down low.
Synan is going to pass out from underneath the basket up top to Downing on the right perimeter. Schichter behind the arc, and he's going to drive off of Goldberg and tried to go through him, but the layup was off the right of the glass. Synan almost picked off the pass, though, from Goldberg. That one to Patrick Walker. 9:47 in the first half. Rogers off the Goldberg screen. Pulls up from mid. Off the back of the rim, and it is pandemonium down low as Goldberg gets the rebound. It's up and under. It'll be Ithaca ball.
Yeah, we'll call a jump on that. Downing was in there. Goldberg was in there. Stern was in there. It's almost award season. There were a little bit of theatrics by all parties in that scuffle, but at the end of the day, the official gives 2 thumbs up. Ithaca basketball.
9:35 in the first half. George Sikoriak left to right for the Bombers. Off of the Stern screen, he looks left. Down low on Goldberg, he pulls up from mid off the front left rim, and it is Goldberg securing the rebound with both hands. Rogers looking to push the pace behind the back, and he passes the midcourt stripe. Off the Goldberg screen, looking at the right perimeter. Out of Washington. Washington guarded by Synan through the hard contact off the glass. It's too hard, and a foul is called as it was Pat Healy. It was Pat Healy who couldn't move out of the way.
Yeah, Healy tried to pick Sikoriak's pocket on that. You got to be careful. They're trying to slow the game down. They might call that a take at the level up in the NBA. Not a rule in college ball, but you still got to be careful to try to avoid that.
Schichter on Healy. Off the Stern screen. Pulls up from the right corner, rather. Fakes it. And Wennerston, left wing. Rolls around, but it doesn't go down. Hobart, right to left. Aiden Rogers brings it up for the Statesmen. The offense moving as it's Goldberg on the perimeter. Uses as a screen for Rogers. It's Washington up top, guarded by Synan. Left wing. Down low to Walker, guarded by Wennerston. Wennerston and Synan tried to pick the pockets, but it is an open cutting man in Washington for the far block layup. 5 points is the lead now for Hobart. 8:20 to go in the first half. Stern to Synan, right wing, extended. Wennerston wanted to be found down low, but no pass was made. And over the top, Schichter. Driving left behind the back, through the contact, up and off the glass. It's too strong. Rogers again, straight away by Sikoriak. Healy Down low, it is Walker and Wennerston. Healy, a left wing triple try. Off the front right rim, tipped around, and it's Gestchichter in the 3-on-3. Moving it up for the Bombers. Off the left with the layup. Toilet bowled around, but moved out right. 7:39 to go in the first half. Hobart with the ball as Rogers barks out the commands of the offense. Double screen called up top. Gestchichter played it well. It's Goldberg straight away. Left wing Pat Healy. Healy trying to drive right. Rogers, top the key. 7 on the shot clock. He drives against Gestchichter. He floats one up there, bouncing around, but it won't work as Wennerston gets the board. Bounce pass to Sikoriak. That is swatted against the backboard. It's Walker on the defense.
Great play from behind by Walker. Now we got some pinball action as Hobart tried to run the other way, and the ball deflected off of Gestchichter towards the near side, allows some fresh faces to come into the game.
Logan Wendell and Liam Spellman back in the game. It is now the starting 5 for Ithaca as Radovich also re-entered. And Jackson Mishanik, the mechanic, is back in this contest. Only 3 points so far in this game, but he's working down low against Luka Radovich. Rogers right perimeter. Mishanik top key down low to Goldberg, and they're going to say Radovich reached in.
Yeah, Radovich is not a fan of that. I have to agree with the stripes here on this one. Radovich's arm was all the way in front of the 3-2 on Goldberg's jersey. But that's what you have to do if you're Radovich, especially playing a guy who's bigger than you. You rarely say that, Radovich guarding someone who's bigger than him, but that's just the case right now. But if I'm Radovich, you got to be patient and not let him in that restricted area.
The Ithaca offense has gone stagnant for the last 5 minutes and 47 seconds as it is Hobart on an 8-0 run in that time. Rogers straight away, guarded by Wendell. Left wing Mishanik, perimeter guarded by Spellman. He drives to the right of the free throw line. Right wing Rogers, 3-ball. And he connects.
He's just electric right now. Rogers for the Statesmen, 9 points on the evening.
3 balls from Tripletown as Wendell tries and almost gets his pocket picked. Radovich down low. Double dribble.
There's just a whole lot of discombobulation this evening from both sides. It's been a game of runs. Hobart has the 8-point advantage right now, but it seems like we're getting what we expected from the second trip around the Liberty League, which is where teams take notes, they realize what went wrong the last time, and they're going to correct for it, and no amount of film that you watch can prepare you for it.
As of right now, Aiden Rogers, who has the ball with 6:20 to go in the first half, leads all scorers with 9 points off of 3 balls from Tripletown. Mishanik down low to Goldberg. Goldberg almost had his pocket picked by Synan. He goes through all the contact, front right rim, Washington rebound. Right winger Rogers, 3. In and out. Foul on the play.
They're going to call that on Goldberg. He grabbed Jack Stern's elbow, threw him to the ground. Kind of rare to throw a big guy to the ground like that, but I love the physicality from Jack Stern down low. Goldberg goes to the bench with that foul. Hobart is now forced to play small. It's 33 in Blues, time to shine for the Bombers.
That is 6'10 versus 6'7. Goldberg against Stern. 6 minutes remaining as it is Skylar Synan with the ball up top. Sikoriak. Left wing Spellman. Look for Synan and now gives it to him around the corner. Ithaca moving the perimeter. Stern now. Spellman. A few stutter steps and it is Wendell. Shaking around. 5 on the shot clock. Ithaca's got to put up a shot and it is forced up and out of bounds. Shot clock violation out of the hands of Jack Stern.
Yeah, Spellman wanted to chuck up an errant 3 there. Realized he had Stern wide open down low, but too little, too late. Spellman threw up a half shot, half pass, and it just didn't work. Shot clock violation. Hobart going the other way.
Hobart up by 8, 5:28 to go in the first half. They're on an 11-0 run in the last 7 or so minutes. Washington down low to one of the Mechanics. That one was Carter. He goes to his brother and Jackson up and under with the layup through insane amounts of contact.
Jackson Mechanic right now is playing with, right now he's got 0, but his brother's got a couple of fouls. They got to attack him.
Hobart leads by 10. And Stern misses the wide open layup, but it is rebounded by Sikoriak. Almost lost by Wendell on the pass out. Spellman right wing. And it is work on the drive behind the back, moves to the left. Wendell now after the pass, fading away from the NCAA logo off the side of the backboard.
Stern's got to make that layup. He was 6 inches in front of the tin and couldn't convert.
Big pass across court from Healy to Washington. He fakes the three off of Warwick, and he has to pass out to Rogers. Swung around for Healy against Wendell, and he slows the offense down. Rogers on the drive, right wing Mashanik. Back left iron. Sikoriak the rebound.
Bombers got to focus up here.
Sikoriak hands off to Warwick. He thought about a three, but second thought otherwise. And it's George Sikoriak with the make shot, rather, as the timeout is on the floor.
Yeah, Willie Fareed immediately gesturing to the stripes for that timeout. It's something that Coach Fareed has tended to do over the past couple of games, is call timeout after a make. It came back to haunt him last week against Skidmore. It came back to help him against Union last Saturday. But like I said, I sound like a broken record, but both these teams are a little discombobulated this evening. And this timeout is just to be sure that he gets his team together, especially after what a great baseline drive by George Sikoriak III. Not a whole lot's been working for IC, just a nice easy baseline drive.
Looking at Skylar Synan, someone who's played today, and we go down to Rocco DeMilo now. Rocco?
Thanks, guys. And as you know, Skylar Synan of the Bombers, as you guys were talking about him earlier, was out for the first month of the season due to a knee injury. He had surgery after last season, which resulted in months of rehab to get back strength in that knee that he had to get operated on. And I asked him yesterday what it was like to get himself back into the lineup, and he called it a slow transition. He knew he wasn't going to be shooting a lot like he normally does, so he needed to do what the team needed from him the most, which was to boost in defense. So he made it his goal to be the best defender he could be. In the 8 games that he played coming into this one, he has registered 19 defensive rebounds and 17 steals. So as you can tell, he's really trying to do what he can to achieve his goal in playing the best defensive basketball he could, and that'll really come into benefit once playoffs start to roll around and the Bombers go for the Liberty League Championship. Guys?
Thank you, Rocco. Again, as of the time of this game, Ithaca leading the Liberty League and Hobart in 4th. Only a game and a half separates the two teams. Hobart brings the ball out from right to left. 4:02 left in the first half. Rogers, the eye of the Ithaca logo. Now Jackson Mashanik, guarded by Stern at the perimeter. Likes the matchup, but he passes out to Mashanik again. That was Carter, but the pass is intercepted from Logan Wendell. Sikoriak on the move. Spellman down low on the right block to Jack Stern. Fakes the pass, and it is Spellman. Another three, fakes it back to one. Back into Spellman, give and go.
That's a good old duo that entered here in 2019. Spellman and Stern, the law firm, the two of them finding each other. Those two, like I've said, two mainstays on this Bomber program.
Ithaca trails by 6 with 3:20 to go. Rogers on the left wing on the pass, down low to Walker, who almost lost the ball on the tip. Down low has to pass out to the right wing. 3-ball, Lynch, way too strong. Warwick, cross-court pass to Wendell. Wendell fakes the three, drives to the left against Mashanik with the right-handed layup on the lefty side.
The driving lanes are opening up for Ithaca now. Hobart clogs them, kick it out and do your thing. Shoot the three.
The Bombers trail by 4 with 2:54 to go in the first half. Mashanik trying to drive on Stern, immediately doubled, and he stops, he reconsiders. Through 3 people, he finds another Mashanik down low and one. That one was Carter on the and one layup.
On that play right there, Hunter drew 3 defenders, Jackson drew 3 defenders. His brother was wide open down low with Carter, and when you draw 3, 2 people are going to be open. Like we've mentioned, the chemistry between the two.
Carter, Hunter, and Jackson. 23, 24, and 25 the numbers. Funny enough, also in alphabetical order by name. That time it is Carter who converts the 3-point play. And a quick timeout on the floor.
Yeah, right now Hobart is up by 7 in just under 3 minutes. What Coach Fareed has to think about heading into the intermission is how are his team going to play fast? This team wants to play fast, but Hobart is not letting them. And it's been a game of runs, like I've said. Ithaca went on an 8-0 run early. Hobart had an 8-0 run of their own towards the midsection of this opening half. And right now, if I'm Ithaca, you have to get Tristan Wennerson involved. He's been limited in this game. He had that key 3 earlier. And he's a guy who I feel like can drive this Hobart defense nuts, because Hobart is starting to open up the driving lanes like I mentioned. And what do you do there? You shoot the 3. Therefore, you got to put your drivers in who could also shoot. And it looks like Ithaca is going to do just that with Wendell, Spellman, Warwick, Sikoriak, and then you got the big fella to get the boards in Stern.
We talk about Ithaca currently shooting around 32%. They've made 4 threes out of 14 tries. Been four different Bombers on the receiving end of those 3 balls, as Sikoriak brings the ball up as the point guard straight away. Wendell off the Stern screen on the left side, takes the step back, pass is tipped away. That one was Patrick Walker, the captain, getting in the way of the ball as Rogers brings it up. No look pass to Mashanik down low to Walker. 1, 2, 3, and that's 2 more points for the Statesmen.
Yeah, on the backside of that possession, Wendell got caught in no man's land. Hobart forced the turnover, turned into 2 points.
Hobart by 9. 2:08 to go in the first half. Spellman cuts back to the left, tries to go baseline, fakes against the guarding Jackson Mashanik. Has to pass out to Warwick, almost floated out of bounds. 10 on the shot clock. Stern, elbow extended. Quick trigger 3. Off the left rim, it is Wendell with the board. He tries to go baseline. He wants to go up and under. He does, but it is against Walker, who denies him. Carter Mashanik guarding down on Warwick. Rogers. Why not? 4 3-point makes. A 12-point Statesman lead.
What a smooth stroke by Aiden Rogers, about 5 feet behind the top of the key, and Hobart's now up by double digits.
Just loving his stay in Tripletown tonight as the Warwick pass is right into the hands of Jackson Mashanik around the circle down low in the paint. 1:12 to go in the first half. Right wing Mashanik fakes the handoff to Lynch. Ball is tipped up and in the air. It is going to go in favor of the Bombers.
That play is going to come up in about an hour towards the end of this game. Zach Warwick caught Jackson Mashanik sleeping right on the far sideline in front of this raucous Ben Lake crowd that hasn't had a whole lot to cheer about, but that play forces a turnover that should not have happened, especially from a Liberty League Player of the Year candidate. And if Ithaca can get points off that turnover with just over a minute left to go in the opening half and cut this down to single digits heading into the locker room, who knows what will be in store for the second half of play.
Just under a minute left now as Skylar Synan was used as the point guard to bring the ball up. Left wing Wennerson now far corner to Warwick. Down low to Stern under the basket on the right with the layup. He misses it right underneath the basket. Brought up by Healy. Left wing. Looks down low to Mashanik, but has to reconsider up top and pass to the captain and Lynch. Carter Mashanik. Down low to Walker on the far block. Synan and Warwick playing defense. Loses possession. Fades away, and he makes it like it's nothing. Hobart by 14. 25 seconds left. The shot clock is off. Synan has the ball on the far side. I think they're looking to go into the halftime break with some momentum. Synan off the Wennerson screen. Has to pass to Stern. Stern hands it back. Left wing. Back to Stern. Stern with the layup underneath. He gets that to go. Around 4 seconds left to go. The clock still ticks. And that is how the first half will end in the second matchup between Ithaca and Hobart. Hobart currently leads 36-24, and obviously the Bombers, Matt, it's a 12-point deficit you have to overcome if you want to win this game. What are they going to have to do that in the second half?
Make your gimmies and take care of the basketball. Looking at the live stats right now, each team has 9 turnovers apiece. That means that this game is going fast, and anything can change with the flip of a coin. However, I've seen Jack Stern miss a couple of gimmies right underneath the tin. Ithaca's had a couple of wide open threes that they couldn't execute on. I could say the same for Hobart. It's been a little bit of a sloppy contest so far, but I'm not too worried about a 12-point gap. I think this is going to be really good for Ithaca or really bad for Ithaca if Hobart has the hot hand late.
We're going to go down to Rocco DeMilo to hear from Ithaca men's basketball head coach Waleed Fareed. Rocco?
Thanks very much, guys. Coach, your thoughts on the first half? It looked like we were playing in a fog a little bit, right? Just a step slow on everything. Defensively, offensively, we had some miscues just passing and catching the ball. But they're getting everything on the inside right now, and we've got to make some adjustments.
What's your message to your team going into the locker room for the halftime?
There's a lot of time left, and we're capable of getting right back in this game. We do it the right way.
Thank you very much, Coach. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Rocco. We're going to go now to the halftime show with Dean Gutic and Alex Chipperu here on VIC Radio Ithaca for coverage of Ithaca men's basketball.
La la la. I love to ride my bike so I can feel the wind through my hair.
Hey, kid! Wear a helmet!
No way, Grandpa, because then I'm looking like an idiot.
The majority of bicycle deaths are due to head injuries. Helmets reduce the odds of a head injury by 50%. Don't be a dummy. Wear a helmet.
Ithaca College basketball is back on VIC Radio this Friday as the men's and women's basketball teams host a doubleheader against the Hobart Statesmen and the William Smith Herons. The women get things started at 5:30 p.m. against William Smith, with the men tipping off at 7:30 p.m. against Hobart. Pre-game coverage begins at 5:15 only on VIC Radio.
This is Hannah Polche, and you're listening to Ithaca College basketball on VIC Radio.
It is now halftime here at Ben Light Gymnasium. Hobart leads Ithaca 36-24 here. Hobart shooting pretty well from beyond the arc. Dean Gutic alongside Alex Tribute here for the halftime show on VIC, And Alex, the Bombers have had a ton of chances but have not been able to convert. What did you see from that first half?
It really was just a poor start from the beginning for the Bombers. I mean, it was really tough for them to find anything to get going, especially their star player, Luka Radovic, picked up two really, really early fouls, which took him out of most of the first half, which made it really hard for the Ithaca Bombers to get anything going down low, and Hobart definitely took advantage of that. Not to mention also that Ithaca has just been shooting poorly from the field. Ithaca has only got a 31.3 field goal percentage compared to 48.3 for the Statesmen, which means that it is going to be really, really hard for Ithaca to get any sort of a lead or any sort of offense going when they're shooting so poorly from the field.
And you mentioned shooting so poorly. A big portion of it, forcing these shots up. You don't have, I get, you want to speed it up, you want to try and convert as quick as possible, but you don't have to speed play up. And the Bombers, I thought, have done a pretty good job so far over the glass. They have been able to get rebounds, but a massive problem, the fouls, especially Luka Radovic. When we have a player like that that's a key player and has two fouls early on, it ruins their groove, it sets the tone, and it feels like Luka Radovic has not been able to basically get his feet wet, basically to get it going. And on top of that, Alex, a lot of missed opportunities, from rebounds to open layups, especially the Jack Stern one near the end of the first half. You've got to convert on these chances, and that's another thing the Bombers have to do better.
Absolutely. I mean, and also another thing, Dean, is that the Bombers have taken a lot of threes, and they have not been converting a lot of them. Only 26.7%, 4 of 15 from beyond the arc tonight. And compare that to the Statesmen, they have once again been doing a much better job of it. 36.4%, 4 of 11 for the Statesmen in terms of three-pointers. And you mentioned doing a pretty good job on the glass. They have been. However, Hobart has still been able to keep a rebound advantage. 21 rebounds total to Ithaca's 17. And so if Ithaca wants to get back into this game, they got to get the rebound advantage back. And obviously, Luka Radovic is going to have to be a huge part of that. They have got to get him going in the second half. And I think the number one goal for the Bombers should be to feed Luka Radovic down low a lot, because I think he is the key to getting back into this game.
Get Luka Radovic going, get him the ball, let the offense even run through Logan Wendell as well. There's 5 points right now for the Bombers. And another thing as well to add on top, we mentioned the big men, even Jack Stern, what Hobart's doing is they're keeping the big men in check for the Bombers. They're winning the battle. And another thing is even when Hobart was up by 10 at one point, while Walid Farid refusing to take a timeout, you got to know when to take the timeout in the right chance, especially if you see the game starting to get a little out of hand, and when you see that the offense looks a little discombobulated, should I say, you got to know when to take the timeout to make the adjustments. And for the Bombers, especially if you are Walid Farid, number one, you have to capitalize on all the chances. Not only if you get open shots, they have to fall, especially on rebounds. And number two, getting stops on the Hobart on the Statesman. There is a time where they left a few shooters open for Hobart, and just like that, for example, you can't leave these shooters open. If you leave these guys open, they're going to make you pay.
Yeah, and I mean, first of all, as you were talking about the guys who they were leaving over, it's mainly been Aiden Rogers, who's currently leading the Statesman with 12 points, 4 of 7 from the field, 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. He has had so many wide open threes, and he has a silky smooth stroke, and so he is going to hit that 9 times out of 10. And so really the Bombers cannot allow him to get open from the top of the key, because he has been able to hit that super well overall in the first half. And also, I think going back to the problem of the Ithaca bigs, I think a lot of it has had to do with the play of the Statesman bigs, being mainly Jackson Mashanik and Evan Goldberg. Both of those guys have done a great job of controlling the glass and also just dominating Jack Stern and Luka Radovic. I mean, we didn't expect that coming in. We know that Luka Radovic is a great player, and so we expected him to really, take advantage of that matchup and try and get something going, but really it's been the opposite. It's mainly been Evan Goldberg and Jackson Mashanik who have been controlling the glass and controlling the paint super well. And Evan Goldberg being 6'10", it is really hard to go up against a guy like that, and it clearly has shown, because the Ithaca bigs have been able to do nothing against him.
Not only have they been kept in check, as we mentioned once again before, I mean, they need to take better shots. You don't have to chuck up threes and force up these shots. If the shot's not there, do not take it. Unless it's going to be a shot clock violation, then you have to take it. But you have to look for those great shots, and you have to make sure they fall, get rebounds, and again, not only watch the turnovers, but play your style of basketball. Because honestly, if I have to be honest with you, Alex, what I saw in the first half, that didn't look like Bomber basketball. And in the last game against Hobart, of course it was neck and neck, and the Bombers pulled out at the end and won. But for the Bombers, it's again, you have to close out defensively. You cannot give these Hobart shooters a chance. You got to win the battle over the boards, and you have to make every shot you get, especially those open ones. And you got to clean up play. Play your style of basketball. You don't have to speed it up. You don't have to do anything too fancy. You have to play it safe and play your style of ball.
Absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned turnovers. Currently, both teams have 9 turnovers, but it felt like the Ithaca turnovers were costing them more points. It just felt like Hobart was taking advantage of the turnovers that Ithaca was giving them so much more than what the Bombers were able to do. You talk about missed opportunities. Some of those were on plays where they got turnovers. And so I think going into the second half, the Bombers have to clean that up. Every time that they get a steal or a turnover of any sort, they need to be taking advantage of that and converting it to points. And also, you look at the assist totals right now. Hobart has 9, Ithaca has 7. And as you mentioned, Dean, it really didn't feel like Ithaca basketball. And I think that's mainly because of the play of the bigs. As we mentioned throughout this halftime show, the bigs for Ithaca have not been able to get involved into the game. And it really felt like without that dominant presence in the paint, the Ithaca Bombers just weren't able to play their style of basketball, as you mentioned. And I think Hobart has done a great job of that. And I think that's their key to winning here. Because if Ithaca is able to get Luka Radovic and Jack Stern back into this game and able to get them going and able to get a dominant presence in the paint, they will come back in this game and they have a shot to win this game. However, if Hobart continues to shut them out and really just do a great job of containing them, it's going to be almost impossible for the Bombers to pull this one out.
Another thing is they have to find the groove, especially Luka Radovic. You're at 2 fouls. It was not a great start to the game, but now you have to pick it up. Big halves like this is where big players need to come up big. Luka Radovic needs to come up big. Logan Wendell, the whole Bombers team needs to step up. Zach Ward, I know he made that 3 earlier, but the Bombers as a whole have to step up, and especially Jack Stern. But for the Bombers, regroup, talk it over the locker room, make adjustments. Do not take the shots that are unnecessary. Play your style and take the shots that are necessary.
Absolutely. I mean, I think part of what you were saying about chucking up threes earlier that the Bombers were doing, look at Liam Spellman, who is currently 1 of 6 from beyond the arc, and that is a huge factor in this game. I mean, really, if you convert those 3-pointers, if Spellman's able to convert those into points, this game is completely different. And the Bombers are actually winning if Spellman is able to hit those threes. And some of them were very wide open. He just wasn't able to connect. And so I think it's not necessarily staying away from the threes, especially if they're open. I don't mind the Bombers taking them. However, they really just have to execute them. They have to hit them. They cannot afford to be missing any shots going forward, considering they are down 12 points in this game.
I'd have to agree with you, Alex. And this is a big half coming up for both sides, not only for Hobart. And if you're Hobart, it's pedal to the metal. You got to keep up what you're doing. And the Bombers, again, regroup, recollect yourselves, readjust, and come out. You got to come out big the second half. You have to start the second half on the big run for your Bombers, because like a 6-0 or even 8-0 run, Alex, would make a 32-36 game, and you want to set that tone and blitz out of the gate early. So for the Bombers, you need to go on a big run.
I think it's more than just that. I think the Bombers need to get Luka Radovich the first bucket of the second half. If they can get him going with the first bucket and just get him immediately into the offense,
make him feel good.
Exactly. Make him feel comfortable. Get him into the game. He has been uncomfortable and not been able to settle into this ball game the entire time, and so really that is going to be the key for the Ithaca Bombers.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree with you right there, Alex. And well, we have a big second half coming up here from Ben Light Gymnasium. Hobart leads Ithaca 36-24. Second half starting soon, and the Bombers will look to come back and regain control of not only this game, but also the Liberty League first seed, Hobart looking to get a huge road win and get their revenge from the last game. Well, that'll do it here for the halftime show on VIC. Dean Gutik, Alex Chaput, sending it over now to Matt Sosler and Kyle DeSantis for the second half.
I'm getting a catcher's mitt.
I'm getting ice skates. I'm getting a jigsaw puzzle.
I'm getting dying coral reefs.
A blue bicycle. A walkie-talkie. I'm getting a severe drought. Cool black skateboard.
I'm getting melted ice caps.
A killer heat wave. A shrinking glacier. I'm getting a devastating flood.
Adults are generous. We're even giving kids global warming. But it's not too late. We can still reduce greenhouse gas pollution. Go to fightglobalwarming.com. Brought to you by Environmental Defense, the Robertson Foundation, and the Ad Council.
VIC Radio.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
Good, you know.
It's so typical of me to talk about
No, tell me what you want to hear. That's why, that's what radio DJs do. Take requests and, you're still talking, okay. Sounds good.
We take requests. Call in at 607-274-1059 or tweet us at VIC Radio.
At VIC, the voice of Ithaca College, we prioritize diversity and inclusion. We are working to ensure that more voices are heard. We support and will continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement and victims of police brutality and racial injustice. We've heard you. We support you. We advocate for change. Black Lives Matter.
This is Logan Rundle, and you're listening to Ithaca College Basketball on VIC Radio.
Welcome back to Ben Light Gymnasium in Ithaca, New York. It's the start of the second half between Ithaca and Hobart. The Statesmen lead 36-24. I'm Matt Sosler alongside Kyle DeSantis. And Kyle, one could say that it's been a three-point shootout here on the South Hill with 26 combined attempts. However, only 8 have gone in, half of them from Hobart's Aiden Rogers. Kyle, your thoughts?
Well, when it comes to Ithaca, obviously you look at that first half, they go 4 of 15 from the three-point arc, rather behind the three-point arc, and you do have 4 different players who have shot from behind and have made a 3, but you also have the idea where it could happen where Ithaca might be shooting themselves out of the game. They have to not let that happen, especially in the second half down 12.
And real quick, this isn't the first time that Ithaca has trailed at half to the Statesmen with more. The third member of our broadcast team, Rocco DeMilo. Rocco?
Thanks, guys. Of course, the Bombers are currently down by 12 against Hobart coming out of the half, but this isn't the first time this season that's happened, especially against Hobart, as the Bombers back on January 7th were trailing by 5 against this same Hobart team going into the second half, and the Bombers did end up winning that game by a final count of 75-74. So it'll be interesting to see if they could do what they did back on January 7th, which was reflect back on what kind of basketball they played in the first half and figure out a response for the second. Guys?
Thank you, Rocco. Ithaca is wearing their Navy uniforms. They run out their starting lineup that they had in the first half of Warwick, Spellman, Wendell, Radovich, and George Sikoriak. Hobart is wearing their traveling oranges. So 2 solid colors here on the South Hill this evening. We're positioned just above mid-court. Both benches are directly in front of us. The student section is directly across from us. A very healthy crowd on the Ithaca side. A lot of athletic teams in the house. As for the Hobart side, a little bit more sparse, but still a healthy contingent. Side out, far side, goes to Aiden Rogers, crosses over the timeline, far side, closely guarded by George Sikoriak. Rogers dribbles now to the top of the key, moving from left to right, now to first Jackson Mashanik at the top of the key. Mashanik guarded by Radovich, now goes to his brother Carter, now back out to Lynch at the far wing, now to Jackson Mashanik, top of the key. Mashanik drives lane, far side, goes up off the toe of the rim, no good. Offensive board corralled by Walker, goes back out to Aiden Rogers, who resets at the top of the key. Fresh shot clock, 13 seconds now. Rogers for 3 from way downtown off the heel of the rim. A rare miss for number 55 in orange. However, Hobart gets another chance. Jackson Mashanik to first baseline drive to Walker, goes up, can't get anything. Too short. Radovich trails the rebound. Ithaca runs. Warwick to Spellman, but he can't handle the pass. Warwick was almost crossing the timeline on the far side. Threw too much of a heat ball to Liam Spellman. It went right through his hands. Hobart has the basketball.
Yeah, Spellman was not happy about that. Immediately a two-hand slap on the hardwood. He really wanted that one.
Rogers crosses the timeline near side. Now defers to Carter Mashanik, who goes to Lynch in the far corner. Now to Jackson Mashanik, who pulls up from 3 from the far wing. It's good. Jackson Mashanik drains it. Hobart increases their lead. It's 39-24. Just under 19 minutes left to go in the second half. Sikoriak now crossing the timeline, goes to Wendell at the top of the key. Wendell picks up his dribble, goes to Spellman near corner. A bounce pass to Radovich on the near block, goes back outside to Wendell. It goes out of bounds near side, but it was deflected by Walker right in front of the Ithaca bench. Ithaca will have a side out near side. 16 seconds left on the shot clock. Wendell's inbound to Sikoriak at the top of the key. Sikoriak drives down the far side lane before he pivots back. Wendell for 3. It's good from the far wing. Ithaca responds and cuts the gap. Now it's 27-39, still in favor of the Statesmen with 18 and a half minutes to go in the half.
If that's how Ithaca has to do it, they're going to have to play with a lot of quick trigger threes, and you might be playing with some fire there considering the percent that they've made, but if that's what it's going to have to do, they're going to have to work it out.
Mashanik kicks out to Rogers in the far corner. Rogers dribbles, now picks it up, now defers to Walker, who tries to baseline drive against Warwick. He fires a high baseball pass to Lynch, who then defers to Rogers, who's at the free throw line. Another high pass to Lynch near corner. He chucks it up, and it's good as the shot clock expires from the near corner. The teams trade threes yet again, 42-27 in favor of the Statesmen. Warwick now has the basketball at the near wing, defers to Radovich at the top of the key, who hands it back to Warwick. Now at the near wing, we get a whistle. Waiting to see exactly what it is. Ithaca will maintain possession as one of the referees heads over to the scorer's table. We're still waiting on the official ruling. We'll lead for Reed. I'm not sure if he's trying to plead his case or if he's trying to draw up a play. He's having a conversation between the official and Wendell. But nonetheless, Wendell inbounds, goes to the top of the key for 3. He responds. Wendell's second 3 of the half. Ithaca cuts the gap down to 12 yet again, and Hobart has their chance to reply with Carter Mashanik, who now goes to Walker at the top of the key. Aiden Rogers now top of the key as they slow things down. Lynch now to Rogers, top of the key. Now down low, far side right near the block is Jackson Mashanik. He goes to work on Radovich. Some pinball action, and they will call a foul on Radovich. That is his third. Mashanik tried to back him down on the far side block. Radovich reached in according to the officials, and Hobart will get the ball underneath the basket.
There haven't been too many fouls in this game, but you look at the Ithaca side, and now with that one against Radovich, rather they will say, at least play-by-play, it'll go to Warwick. It's a big one, especially down 12.
Correction, will call it on work on the pocket pick. Mashanik goes down low to his brother Carter. That one's too much. Off the glass and tumbles down to Radovich, who passes it to Logan Wendell at the far wing. He tries to drive, but is fouled by Carter Mashanik as he drove right near the far block. That is Carter Mashanik's first, the team's first as well. George Skoriak will inbound the ball from the end line on the far side. Skoriak goes down low to Radovich, kicks back out to Skoriak at the far corner. Skoriak drives, now kicks to Spellman at the near wing. Spellman out to work, top of the key for three. Can't hit it, off the toe, off the heel, and out. Hobart now going the other way with Carter Mashanik. Mashanik bounce pass to his brother Jackson, goes up and under and good. Off the glass, 44-30 in favor of the Statesmen. 16:40 left to go in the second half. Skoriak at the far wing. Defers to Zach Work, who goes around the horn to Spellman near wing for three. Off the heel of the rim, can't get it. Tap out to Warwick. Now Spellman at the near wing. He goes down low to Sikoriak. Stop, pop, and can't get it to drop a rim roller. Falls off towards the far side. Aiden Rogers corrals the rebound.
Yeah, that's a season high in 3 attempts for Spellman. He had 6 against RIT. Now that was his 7th.
Lynch for three from the far wing. He connects. 47-30 in favor of the Statesmen. 16:06 left to go in the second half. Sikoriak and Ithaca with the basketball at the near wing. Sikoriak defers to Radovich, top of the key for three. Can't get it. That one missed the entire rim, hit off the glass before corralling back. Jackson Mashanik with the rebound. He kicks it to his point guard in Rogers. Rogers at the far wing. Now to Mashanik, top of the key. Lynch for three at the near wing. Off the heel of the rim, no good. A long rebound finds Jackson Mashanik after weaving through a bunch of players on both sides. Rogers hangs on to the basketball before he goes to work on Sikoriak at the far wing. Jackson Mashanik near side lane drive. He bounce passes to Walker, but they call a reach and foul on the Bombers.
That one's going to be on Spellman. He was trying to get a hand in the passing lane. When he reached out, he bumped the Statesman down low. He gets called for the foul there as Noah Downing and Tristan Wennerston enter the game for IC.
Skoriak and Spellman are out of the game for IC. Hunter Mashanik checks in for the Statesman. Walker takes a seat on the bench. An inbound underneath the basket. Carter Mashanik takes it out. A long pass that is broken up by Noah Downing. It's deflected off at Aiden Rogers on the far side, and Ithaca forces the turnover. A great defensive play by Downing.
Great defensive play by Downing. A little heads-up call for the William Smith Herons, the basketball team he played before this game.
Downing with the basketball, near wing. Defers to Warwick, still at the near wing. Tries to shake a man, can't succeed. Downing a pop. Two, it's good. Just inside the free throw line. And Ithaca cuts the gap down to 15. It's 47-32, just over 15 minutes to go in the second half. Rogers crosses the timeline far side, closely guarded by Noah Downing. Bounce pass to Jackson Mashanik at the top of the key. Mashanik dribbles before handing the ball off to Lynch at the near wing. Now to Carter Mashanik, down low to Hunter Mashanik, who goes to work on Wennerston at the far side block. A kick out to Rogers at the far wing. He drives, now runs into trouble. A kick out to Hunter Mashanik, off the toe of the rim, no good. Tap out to Logan Wendell, and the Bombers go on another run. Wendell has to work off the window and in from the near block. 34-47, still in favor of the Statesmen. 14 and a half minutes to go in the second half. Rogers with the ball on the Ithaca logo. Now Jackson Mashanik in the near corner. Mashanik bounce pass to Rogers, near wing for three, off the side of the rim before it rolls out of bounds at the near side in front of the Statesman bench. Ithaca gets the basketball. Skylar Synan checks into the game. He'll replace for Zach Warwick.
Also for Hobart coming in, we have Isaiah Washington and Pat Healy. And with that, it will be Carter Mashanik taking a seat, as well as Lynch.
Ithaca is moving from right to left. 14-10 left to go in the second half. The Statesmen hold a 13-point advantage. Noah Downing passes to Radovich at the top of the key. Now Logan Wendell at the far side wing. Wendell, shot fake. Now a real shot from the far corner. Can't get it. Rebound by Aiden Rogers at the near block as the Statesmen go up court from left to right. Washington at the near wing. Now Rogers at the top of the key. He thought about it, but Downing was guarding him closely. A bounce pass to Mashanik at the far elbow. Corner three from the far side is no good from Healy. Rebound by Radovich. A long baseball pass. Wendell's layup is off the glass and in from the far side block. Ithaca cuts the gap down to 11 with 13 and a half minutes to go in the half.
The Bombers in transition are the best Bombers when it can be in this case, as a timeout is called on the floor. Both teams are going to talk things out. Hobart leads by 11, 13:23 to go in the second half.
And Kyle, we've seen a track meet so far here today. A lot of scoring. A quick update in terms of who's currently on the floor and how many points they have. The Bombers scoring has been pretty spread out. Logan Wendell has 15 points. Downing with 2. Wennerston with 3. Seinen is scoreless. And then Radovich with 2.
Yeah, you look at Skylar Seinen, and honestly, I feel like he should be someone that should be trying to get on the board, maybe get a few opportunities. He has 3 assists. He has only shot 1 time, and that was a 3-point ball back in the first half. But you look at Ithaca, again, coming into the timeout. They're on a 6-0 run in the last near 3 minutes. They have done a better job at getting back into this game. Yes, they are still down by 11. The clock is now going to start to play more and more against their favor around the 13.5-minute mark. But when it comes to how this Ithaca team operates, they're going to have to continue in transition and maybe try to get some more open shots from behind the arc.
I mentioned the leading scorer for Ithaca. It's Logan Wendell. For the Statesmen, we'll go through some of their leading scorers. Aiden Rogers leads them with 12, courtesy of 4 3-balls. In second place is Jackson Mashanik with 10. Everybody else is still in single figures. Carter Mashanik is the next man up at 7 points. Hobart will have a side out from the far side directly in front of their fans. Washington will inbound for the Statesmen wearing their orange jerseys. He inbounds to Aiden Rogers, who has the basketball at the far wing, guarded by Noah Downing, who gets pile drive by Hunter Mashanik on the moving screen. The Bombers get the basketball.
It's those kind of plays that could potentially switch the momentum. Hunter Mashanik was not happy about the call, but it's going to be Ithaca basketball with 13:16 to go.
That moving screen is the 3rd foul on Hunter Mashanik as Noah Downing handles the point guard duties for Ithaca. He crosses over the midcourt logo. Dribbling with his left hand, now to the near wing. Downing closely guarded by Rogers as we get a whistle away from the ball, and based on the reaction of Hunter Mashanik, that will be foul number 4.
That is going to be foul number 4 for Hunter Mashanik. One of the captains of this Hobart team, and Patrick Walker, will re-enter the game. Walker with 7 points on 3 of 5 shooting, also 8 rebounds.
Seinen will inbound underneath the basket. A long pass to Tristan Wennerston near the midcourt logo. Wennerston bounce pass down low to Radovich at the near block. Radovich goes to work on Jackson Mashanik. No good off the glass, but gets the foul. Radovich will head to the line.
Here's the thing, Matt. These are the first free throws that Ithaca has attempted all game long. Hobart's only shot 6 total.
Radovich gets set for his first and nails it. A straight swish. Radovich shoots 68.6% from the free throw line. 37-47 in favor of the Statesmen. 12:56 left to go in the second half. Radovich's second is off the heel of the rim. No good. Wennerston tried to tap it out, but it was right to Jackson Mashanik, who dishes the basketball off to Healy, who crosses the timeline near side. Now Rogers has the basketball at the top of the key, being pressed by Noah Downing. Rogers now to Washington, far wing. Now to the far corner for Healy, down low to Mashanik. Mashanik being guarded by Radovich and Wendell as Radovich yanks the basketball away. No jump ball called. An iron fast pass to Downing, who now crosses the midcourt logo. Wennerston, far wing, 4-3, splash. It's single digits, 40-47, 12:23 left to go in the half. Wennerston has 6 points on the day.
Peek the press. Peep at the press right now.
Ithaca pressing the Statesmen, but the Statesmen are successful in breaking it. Rogers has the basketball at the far wing. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Now Jackson Mashanik goes to work on Radovich. Spin move, far wing, goes up. No good off the toe of the rim, but they call a foul underneath the basket. Waleed Fareed does not agree, throwing his hands up in disgust. There were a handful of blue jerseys underneath the basket. Let's see who the guilty party is. Mashanik heads to the line for two.
It's Radovic's third. Out of all the people that you had down low, that's probably the last one you want to have that foul accredited to if you're Walid Farid.
Mashanik's first is short off the toe of the rim. Jackson so far today is 1 for 3 from the free throw line.
Now Farid is talking to one of the officials.
Mashanik entered today at 70%. Mashanik's second is off the heel of the rim, no good. Rebound to Synan. Synan runs the floor, crosses the timeline on the far side, goes to work on Healy, crossover dribble, dish down low to Radovich off the window and in at the far side lane. It's a 5-point game, 42-47. The Statesmen have the lead and the basketball. Inbound to Rogers. He is cornered. A kick out to Walker, closely guarded by Synan and Downing. Hobart has no idea what they're doing, and Walker calls timeout. Ben Wright is electric.
Talk about being electric. Noah Downing was fired up as that timeout was called. Ithaca trails by 5, 11:38 to go in the second half.
And with more, we send it down to the court. And Rocco DeMilo. Rocco, what do you got?
Thanks, guys. And, you know, we talked a lot about, you guys mentioned a lot about Luka Radovich and George Sikoriak. They were really doing a lot of good things there along the floor. But as you may know, Luka Radovich transferred to the South Hill last year, but it was partially with the help of his childhood friend and fellow Bomber, George Sikoriak. Radovich told me about their childhood relationship, how he and Sikoriak grew up on 6th and 7th Streets in Kletzko, New Jersey, and when they weren't riding bikes around town, they were shooting hoops in Sikoriak's driveway. It was Radovich's sophomore year when he reached out to Sikoriak, and he told Sikoriak about transferring schools, and Sikoriak happened to give him what he described a great pitch to come to Ithaca, and it ended up being what he called the perfect fit for him. We talked about team chemistry and how it has benefited this team. You can only imagine what it has been like for these two to play alongside each other after growing up just blocks away from one another. Guys?
Thank you, Rocco. Hobart has a 5-point lead with the basketball. It's Walker in the far corner, closely guarded by Wennerston. He baseline drives, now kicks out to Washington at the near wing. Now Rogers at the top of the key, guarded by Noah Downing. Tries to drive at the far lane. Now Synan guarding closely, and Synan gets the steal. Synan tried to bounce pass to Wennerston, but he is called for a travel. Synan wanted Wennerston. Wennerston is arguing to the official that he was held, and it caused Synan to shuffle his feet right on the midcourt logo. Nonetheless, Hobart gets the basketball back, up by 5 with just over 11 minutes to go in the second half. It's Healy at the near wing. Healy now to the baseline in the near corner, kicks out to Goldberg. Goldberg now to Healy around the horn. To Rogers at the top of the key. Now Washington at the far wing, guarded by Wennerston. Washington tries to shake Wennerston, can't succeed, tries to go in for the layup. No good off the glass, but Wennerston will get called for the foul. 2 shots for the Statesman.
Yeah, and kind of going back to that play where Synan was called for a travel. Again, Wennerston got tied up, and Synan, when you see you guys tied up and you're trying to work a fast break, you don't know too much to do, and obviously the travel was called. It could have been a turnover either way for Hobart as Washington takes some free throws now from the line.
Isaiah Washington is one of Hobart's best from the free throw line at 87.5%. He sinks the first. That increases the Statesman lead to 6, 48-42 with just under 11 minutes to go in the second half. Matt Sosler, Kyle Santos, and Rocco DeMilo on hand for you on this beautiful Friday night inside, I'd say, here in Ithaca, New York. Not so fantastic outside. Some cold temperatures here in January. Washington's second is nothing but net. 49-42 in favor of the Statesmen as Synan takes the ball over the timeline on the far side for Ithaca. Synan kicks out to Andrew Geschichter at the top of the key. Now Radovich at the far wing. Radovich now to Noah Downing in the far corner. Downing traverses to the far wing. Stops, pops, can't get it to drop. A rim rattler. A fight for the basketball that's eventually handled by Walker, who yanks it away and now defers to Healy, who goes past midcourt at the near side. Healy tries to shake Andrew Geschichter. Kicks out. They go around the horn to Marco. Now top of the key to Walker. Walker tries to drive down the far line. Corner 3. Passed up. Now Healy at the top of the key. Stops, pops, and it drops just in front of the free throw line. 51-42 in favor of the Statesmen. Healy's first points on the day. Noah Downing now crosses the midcourt logo. He drives, goes right up, and gets the and one. Washington tried to stand his ground. He could not get set, and Downing heads to the line for the bonus point.
He's one of those guys where he gets a few plays, he gets everyone riled up on his team, in the crowd. He's looking to continue the momentum that he's done in this game by aiming to cut the Ithaca deficit to 6.
Radovich checks out. Stern checks in. 51-44 in favor of the Statesmen as Downing goes for the extra point. The free throw is up. A rim rattler falls off the toe, off the heel, and down 45-51 in favor of the Statesmen. David Corrales Marco out of Zaragoza, Spain, defers to Healy at the near wing. Healy corner three for Corrales. Marco is short off the side of the rim. Wennerston comes up with the rebound. He takes it up court, crossing the midcourt logo. Now top of the key for three. Wennerston can't get it off the toe of the rim. Wrestling for it is Goldberg and Geschichter. No whistle blown. Hobart gets the basketball. It's Healy taking it from left to right. Now to the near wing. Healy traverses to the top of the key. He's closely guarded by Geschichter. Geschichter tries to pick his pocket as Healy tries to shake him. Healy drives near lane, loses the basketball off his foot. Some pinball action, eventually finds Walker. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Walker drives up the near lane, goes up and in off the window and off the side of the rim. Hobart increases their lead to 8 with under 9 left to go in the second half. Noah Downing has the basketball at the far wing, goes to Geschichter at the top of the key. Now back to Downing at the far wing. Wennerston corner three, but it's a kick ball off the bounce pass attempt. Walker was guarding Wennerston in the far corner. It hit off his foot, and Ithaca will have an inbound underneath.
For Hobart right now, they've just been making the shots at the right time, and with these possessions, with these shots, they've also been able to shave so much time off of the shot clock each time down the floor.
Jackson Mashanik checks in for the Statesman. Walker checks out. The inbound to Synan is successful at the far wing. Synan loses his dribble. He seeks help. Tries to fire a baseball pass that is broken up, and the Statesmen get the basketball. Corrales Marco at the top of the key. He defers to Healy at the near wing. Now to Goldberg at the top of the key. And now goes all the way around. Jackson Mashanik baseline near the far block. Closely guarded by Geschichter. He's now triple teamed. He loses the basketball, and Skylar Synan comes away with it in the far corner. Synan defers to Geschichter, who crosses the midcourt logo. Geschichter, top of the key for three. Off the heel of the rim, can't get it. The long rebound is corralled by Jackson Mashanik. He defers to Corrales Marco, who crosses the half-court line at the midcourt logo. Corrales Marco is closely guarded by Skylar Synan at the top of the key. He drives up the near lane, bounce pass down low to Goldberg, and Geschichter rips the basketball away. Downing bulldozes Corrales Marco, and it's Corrales Marco that gets called for the block.
Some substitutions for Ithaca: Logan Wendell, George Sikoriak, Zach Warwick, Luka Radovich. 4 of 5 starters. The lone bench player out for IC, Tristan Wennerston.
Ithaca has a side out on the far side. Wennerston bounce passes it to Sikoriak, who crosses over the midcourt logo. Sikoriak drives near lane, can't get it off the side of the rim. Hobart gets the rebound. It's Mashanik taking it the other way. Now it's Healy at the far wing. Now to Corrales Marco at the top of the key. He's guarded by George Sikoriak. Hobart has an 8-point lead with the basketball. It's now Carter Mashanik going to work against Wendell at the near block. He throws up a layup, no foul called, and he airballs it. Now Tristan Wennerston at the near block. He goes up off the toe of the rim. The second chance, third chance, pinball action, and the Statesmen get the basketball, but they will call a whistle as it looks like Wennerston got poked in the face. So they'll allow him to exit the game. 7:17 left to go in the second half. Like I said, Hobart has an 8-point lead, up 53-45. Their largest lead tonight has been 17, so Ithaca has cut that down, but it's been back and forth over the past few minutes of basketball. Each team has been scoreless for quite some time, over 2 minutes each way. Corrales Marco across the midcourt logo. He's guarded by George Sikoriak. He defers, to Healy at the near wing. Down low to Jackson Mashanik, who baseline drives, goes up off the window, and good. A reverse layup. Radovich is inbound to Warwick, who crosses the midcourt logo at the near side, goes back to Radovich at the midcourt logo. Radovich, a far side drive, and he is fouled by Goldberg. Radovich will head to the line for 2 shots. Goldberg committing the foul. That's his second.
You got to think there's so many times where you drive against someone that's 6'10". Every time you go up, you've seen a few people go up and contend with them. You've seen Sikoriak barrel his way through for a layup. We'll see if they could try to get him into some foul trouble.
Radovich is 1 for 2. Make that 2 for 3 on the night as the first one rattles down. He cuts the gap down to single digits, 46-55 in favor of the Statesman. Radovich looks to make it 8. The Cresskill, New Jersey native. Can't connect a rim rattler that is rebounded by Walker. He bounce passes it out to Carter Mashanik, and now Karias Marco has the basketball at the midcourt logo. He's guarded by George Sikoriak III. Karias Marco crosses over. Now dishes it out to Carter Mashanik. Now to Jackson Mashanik at the top of the key. Mashanik drives down the far side of the lane. He goes up off the window and down. Jackson Mashanik is now in double figures. He's achieved that feat in every single game so far this season. Warwick has a wide open lane, goes off the window and in. Hobart got discombobulated and Warwick took it right down Broadway, down the far side. A timeout called. Hobart takes a 9-point lead, 6:15 left to go in the half.
And you talk about this 9-point lead that Hobart has. There's 6:15 left in the second half. Ithaca's got to get out of the shooting strut. They won for their last 5, also one of their last 7 from 3. They got to get something going, and the clock is their enemy. And I mentioned earlier that it's starting to become more and more of their enemy, especially as we're now down into the single digits when it comes to minutes.
Last few moments of this game, some teams rely on their elder statesmen. With more, here's Rocco.
Thanks, guys. And as you've seen, David Corrales Marco of the Statesmen has come off the bench for a little boost in their defense. And you know, we mentioned his name a lot, how he's been a staple for his offense, but a couple interesting facts. I mean, he hails from Zaragoza, Spain, but it didn't take him long to get his name out there, especially last year when he made history on a night where he went 6 for 6 from beyond the arc in a conference matchup against Bard, where the Statesmen won 97-77. Carlos Marco became the first player in Hobart history to make that many three-pointers in a single game. It goes to show his confidence that he has, and you know, when he comes off the bench. And this year he hasn't made more than 3 three-pointers in a game, but that of course can change at any given moment. Guys?
Thank you, Rocco. Carrez Marco, one of the elder statesmen, as I mentioned, on this Hobart squad. The senior out of Zaragoza. Press defense from Ithaca. Jump ball. So the possession arrow will favor Hobart. However, Ithaca will get it back, assuming this inbound is complete. Actually,
some confusion. Yeah, there's some confusion.
And it looks like the officials were just as confused as everybody else in this arena. The possession arrow actually will favor Ithaca like I thought it would. Sikoriak will inbound underneath the basket. Sikoriak tries to go down low to Warwick. It gets tipped. Warwick goes up off the glass. No good. Mashanik has his pocket picked, but at the end of the day, Hobart has the basketball. It's Healy taking it up court, crosses midcourt with 6 minutes left to go in the second half. Hobart is up by 9. Healy drives near lane. Overarm pass down low to Walker. He's rejected by Warwick, but there's a foul. Waleed Fareed is pleading his case that Zach Warwick went straight up. And actually, they won't call it on Warwick. They'll call it on Radovich on the pick, and that's big because that's Luca's 4th.
And what can he do in that case? He just had his hands up. He didn't jump at all. He didn't jump, and that's a foul.
First one is off the backboard, no good, from Patrick Walker, the senior from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who shoots 71% from the stripe. Walker is 1 for 3. Make that 2 for 3 from the free throw line today. Hobart is back up by double digits. A 10-point game with 5:50 left to go in regulation. Sikoriak crosses over the midcourt logo. for Ithaca. Sikoriak passes to Logan Wendell at the top of the key. Wendell tries to drive down the far lane, stops, pops, and he can't get it to drop. The rebound is by Walker underneath the basket. He kicks out far side to Keeley, who crosses over the midcourt logo. Keeley dribbles to the top of the key. He's guarded by George Sikoriak. Keeley drives, now goes to Walker, goes up the window and in. Hobart increases their lead to 12, 5-16. Ithaca runs, Spellman corner, 3 near side, splash. A key 3 from Spellman, who has attempted more threes tonight than he has all season long. 8 points on the night for the Waterford, Connecticut native as Hobart goes the other way. Jackson Mashanik goes off the window and in from the near block. 62-51 in favor of the Statesmen. Under 5 left to go in regulation. Sikoriak baseline drives from the near side, and they will call an offensive foul on Sikoriak. Karias Marco drew the infraction. That is the first on Sikoriak, the third, and Hobart gets the basketball back.
It's the worst time for that to happen. Right down on the low block on the left side. You're down by 11, you're trying to get to the hoop, and it's going the other way.
Carter Mashanik inbounds for the Statesmen, and they're able to escape the press. Healy crosses midcourt, goes to Walker down low, and he is rejected by Jack Stern. The ball found the backboard but couldn't go. But another offensive board for the Statesmen as Karias Marco has it at the top of the key. He's guarded by Zach Warwick. Under 4.5 left to go in the second half. Jackson Mashanik has the basketball at the top of the key. Goes down low to Walker, who goes up off the toe of the rim. He can't get it. Zach Warwick has the rebound, and he goes the other way. He passes to Skylar Sinan, who crosses midcourt. Sinan tries to get past Karias Marco. Corner 3 for Warwick. He passes up, tries to go again, and he connects from the near wing. Ithaca cuts it down to single digits. It's an 8-point game, and Ithaca presses. Karias Marco in the corner. He finds an outlet to Carter Mashanik. Walker slow things down at the far wing. And now a timeout for Stefan Thompson.
Warwick's getting hot at the right time. He's made 3 of his last 4 field goals. Now up to double-digit points. That's his 10th.
A quick reset for those of you just tuning in. Matt Sossler and Kyle DeSantis. Rocco DeMilo is courtside for us. Hobart is up 62-54 over Ithaca. These two teams are just separated by a game and a half in the Liberty League standings, with the tournament just about 4 weeks away. Again, 3:55 left to go in the second half. Hobart just called timeout. A look at some of the leading scorers this evening. For Ithaca, it's Logan Wendell with 15. And for the Hobart Statesmen, who else would you expect? It's Jackson Mashanik with 16. The Statesmen have 4 in double figures. They've led by as many as 17 throughout the night as Walid Farid rallies his troops. A lot of passion in the Ithaca huddle. Their bench is right below us. As for Hobart, Stefan Thompson taking an analytical approach. He has his whiteboard and magic marker in hand. His team wearing the orange jerseys is closely gathered around him as he draws up the closing plan for this contest as the Statesmen try to salvage the split against the Bombers this season. Hobart will inbound from the far side right in front of their fan section. A healthy crowd on site for this Friday night contest. Carter Mashanik inbounds and gets the basketball right back at the far wing. Davey Karias Marco is at the top of the key, closely guarded by Zach Warwick. He defers to Jackson Mashanik at the near wing. He's guarded by Wennerston. Mashanik waits patiently, now drives right in front of the tin and goes up and good. And we get a whistle. It'll be delay of game. Waiting to see who the delay of game is called on. Coach Walid Farid is getting an explanation. It'll be Ithaca basketball. Wennerston inbounds to Skylar Sinan. Hobart has 17 fouls. Ithaca has 6. Ithaca with the basketball. It's Logan Wendell He drives far side lane, goes up off the glass, and good. 56-64 in favor of the Statesmen. 3:16 left to go in the contest. Carter Mashanik inbounds. He's closely guarded by Spellman. He successfully inbounds to Healy, who kicks out to Karias Marco. Karias Marco shakes a couple of defenders. The ball's on the ground. The signal favors Ithaca. Some pinball action, some bodies diving all over the Ben Light floor. Spellman and Carter Mashanik were the last two to make a play on the ball, and the officials rule that Mashanik touched it last, so Ithaca will have a side out on the far side. One thing to note, Luka Radovic checks into the game. He has 4 fouls. Inbound is successful to sign in at the top of the key. Wendell baseline drives from the corner. He loses the basketball. It did not go out of bounds, but they will rule that Wendell stepped on the line while maintaining possession. So Hobart gets the basketball right back.
And as soon as Radovic enters the game, he comes back out as Wennerston replaces him on the court.
We see a little bit of an offensive-defensive platoon between Radovic and Wennerston. The inbound is successful for the Statesmen, and the press is evaded. Walker has the basketball at the near wing. He passes out to Healy. 2:46 left to go on the game clock. It's Karias Marco at the midcourt logo. He's closely guarded by Skylar Synan. Karias Marco now to the near wing as he dribbles all around the court. He passes now to Healy, who goes to Mashanik, goes up, too short. Second chance is good, off the window and in from the near block. Hobart is now up by double digits, a 10-point game with under 2.5 left to go in the second half. Logan Wendell for Ithaca tries to drive, kicks out to Spellman, who passes up the three. He drives, now kicks to work, top of the key for three, off the toe of the rim. Rebound by Skylar Synan. He goes to Wennerston at the far corner for three. This one can't fall as well, off the toe of the rim, off the backboard, no good. Hobart gets the rebound. Healy has the basketball, and they're across midcourt on the near side. Under 2 minutes left in this contest as Ithaca is going to have to start fouling. Wennerston fouls Jackson Mashanik at the top of the key.
Really, for Hobart, they've just been out-muscling Ithaca down low. That's why they've been able to keep this lead. They've been getting a lot of layups through contact. They've been getting them off the glass. They've been going down. That's why they're back up in double digits, and that's why they lead by 10 with under 2 remaining.
There's one stat, you mentioned the glass. There's one stat that Coach Fareed is going to take a look at after today and want to improve on. Ithaca's being out-rebounded 40-28 this evening as Mashanik hits the first. Hobart is up 67-56, 1:56 left to go in the second half. Jackson Mashanik is 2 for 5 from the free throw line. He currently has 19 points. He averages 21 per game. He can't connect on the second attempt, and Hobart gets another rebound. It's Walker. He goes right back up, and he's fouled. So Hobart will head right back to the line.
It's on Synan. Synan's foul is only at 2 after that last one, but that's where they're going to come into play because you're down 11. 1:54 remaining. You got to get back at the line and got to hope that these 1-and-1s really don't go down.
Patrick Walker has 12 points. His first attempt is no good, off the heel of the rim and rattles out to the near side. It is a shooting foul, so he will get 2 attempts no matter what. Walker is 2 for 5 from the line so far today. As he tries to hit 50% on the evening, he can't do that, off the toe of the rim. Another offensive board for Hobart. Warwick rips it away from Carter Mashanik. However, the official calls a jump ball. This time it will favor the Statesmen. But Kyle, the Bombers just can't perform on the glass tonight.
Yeah, it's not been a fun watch, to say the least, as now there's a timeout on the floor to talk things over with the teams. Walid Fareed, obviously not too pleased with some of the calls, especially after that jump ball. He thought it was going to go back to Ithaca, as both teams have a possession arrow, but we'll stay with the Statesmen.
Another quick reset for you. Under 2 minutes to go, 1:53 left on the game clock. Hobart holds a 67-56 lead over the Ithaca College Bombers. I'm Matt Sossler alongside Kyle DeSantis. Rocco DeMilo is courtside. Both teams are in the bonus. Ithaca has 18 fouls. Hobart has 7. Logan Wendell leads the Bombers with 17 points. Zach Warwick is in second place with 10. Jackson Mashanik leads the Statesmen with 19 points. Only 2 players are in foul trouble, one for each side. It's Radovich and Hunter Mashanik, who we have not seen in the game since his 4th foul. Hobart took a double-digit lead into the halftime break. Ithaca was able to cut it down to as little as 5 in the second half, but then the Statesmen pulled away. And like I said, their lead is currently 11. We're coming right out of a jump ball. Hobart has the benefit of the possession arrow, so it will be Carter Mashanik will inbound underneath the basket. A long inbound goes all the way back to David Carayas-Marco. He's guarded by Skylar Sinan at the top of the key, and Sinan picks his pocket. The whistle blows, will be a reach, and Carayas-Marco will head to the line. That's Skylar's 3rd on the day. It'll be a 1-and-1 chance for Carayas-Marco, who's shooting 50% from the free throw line entering today. Get a lane violation called. And that will void the free throws attempts for Carayas-Marco. The call lane violation on Walker, so Ithaca gets the basketball back. Spellman will inbound to Zach Warwick. A nice little slow bounce pass to try and preserve the clock. 1:45 left to go in the second half. Ithaca is going to need a miracle to come back in this one. Wendell, far lane drive, and he is rejected by Walker. And now the official
foul on Wendell. What happened was after the layup, he kind of pushed off, and it was Walker who didn't take too kind of it. The ref got him down as a foul for that. Not a good look, to be honest with you. It's not the best look, and it's more free throws for Jackson Mashanik.
Not only that, that's a technical on Logan Wendell. Mashanik is unable to convert the first. It rattles in and out, as Coach Fareed has the left side of his bench all standing at the scorer's table. Aiden Holmes, Bryce Bleibtree, Blake Haber, Lawrence Brady, and last but not least, Cole Wissink will all check in. A wholesale line change for Coach Fareed. Coach Thompson will keep his usual suspects on the court for now with a minute and a half left, and Hobart holds a 12-point lead. The guy with the most experience of them all is Aiden Holmes. Appeared in some games last year in tight situations because the Bombers were thin at the guard position. Wearing number 3 that was worn by Tommy Carver a year ago and worn by Riley Thompson the year before that, as Wissink tries to drive down the far side lane. He's fouled by Carayas-Marco. Cole Wissink from Woodbridge, Connecticut, the 6'2 freshman. The foul will send Wissink to the line. Wissink has yet to make a free throw so far this year. His last game was against Clarkson on January the 14th. And that is his first made free throw on the season. A rim rattler cuts the gap down to 11. He made his season debut against Centenary down in New Jersey, part of their Cortica Jug trip against Montclair State and Centenary. Wissink 2 for 2 at the line. That one is nothing but net. A 10-point game with a minute 35 left to go. Ithaca presses. Bleibtree is closely guarding Jackson Mashanik. He's joined by Blake Haber. Jackson defers to his brother Carter as the Statesmen get the ball across midcourt. They now go to Healy at the top of the key. He's closely guarded by Blake Haber. A baseball-style pass to Carter Mashanik at the near wing. Now to Jackson Mashanik at the far wing, and he's fouled by Bryce Bleibtree, and Jackson Mashanik will head to the line. Foul number 15, Bryce Bleibtree, his first.
to add some things on to Wisink, those were his first collegiate free throws, and he's 2 for 2 so far in his collegiate career in that category.
Can't get much better than that, 100%. A feat that Jackson Mashanik has not mastered so far this year. That's been his free throw percentage as he sinks the first. Mashanik today has had a bit of a rough go at the free throw line. He's 4 for 9. However, that made basket puts him at 20 points yet again. His second free throw gets him to his season average at 21. Hobart is up by 12. 1:10 left to go in the second half as the Statesmen can start to smell a series split with Ithaca. As a baseball-style pass is unable to be caught by Wisink, a turnover as Karias Marco takes it up the other way. Under a minute left to go, 55 seconds on the clock. Jackson Mashanik is fouled by Lawrence Brady at the top of the key. And Mashanik will head right back to the line. Taking a look at the free throw attempts for the Statesmen so far, excluding these ones by Mashanik that are about to take place. That's their 22nd attempt on the day. They're now 12 for 22. 71-58 as Hunter Mashanik kneels at the scorer's table. He comes in and he'll check out for Patrick Walker, as well as his brother Carter Mashanik. Blybetree bounce passes into Aiden Holmes, who crosses over half court. Passes back to Blybetree at the top of the key. He drives far side lane off the window and in. 72-60. Ithaca is still applying the press on Jackson Mashanik. Bounce pass to Washington as Hobart is still trying to cross midcourt, and they eventually do. The pocket is picked. Wisink is going the other way. Passes midcourt, now top of the key. Lawrence Brady drives. He goes up off the window and good. Lawrence Brady's first collegiate basket. And the Bombers cut the gap down to 10 at 72-62. The Hartsdale, New York native is now on the score sheet. 19 seconds and counting. The shot clock is off. Ithaca is still playing the press in Hobart's end of the court as Hobart just passes the basketball around. Healy has it at the near wing as the seconds tick. And almost a backcourt violation, but Jackson Mashanik is able to keep it on his end. 1 second and triple zeros. The horn sounds. Hobart salvages the split, 72-62. And Kyle, this was just a great game for Hobart, something they can build off of in a game that IC is going to want to learn from heading into their contest against RPI tomorrow.
A big win for Hobart, their 5th straight win, I might add, again, since the last time that these two teams faced off. Hobart's been red hot. Again, for the Bombers, they got a big test